they talking real loud, spreading no lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. With my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading no lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. With my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your Saturday Vitamins. So if you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so before we get started, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. In the meantime, in between time, everybody, please be sure to hit that like button. Thank you in advance.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right. Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find 12 Tribes at Walmart.com. Okay, so hello, Queen Huey. Ethleen's here. Claudette. All hell no. All right, just anticipate. Nini's in the house. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it. Hey, Veronica. Everyone hit that like button. I see you, Vince. I am from the UK. Lana is here. All right. With that all being said, let's get into it because there is a whole bunch of nefarious things that Trump has been into. And I've been missing out on it because I've been reporting on Diddy, okay, for days straight. So let's talk about it because first of all, let's get into this whole thing about Trump, Putin, and Zelensky. So they were supposed to have peace talks, and it looks like Trump and Putin left Zelensky high and dry, which is no surprise to me, okay? Zelensky said it was so disrespectful. So let's get into it. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share my screen. Hey, Deronda. Blaxicon is in here. All right, so the Queen putting in work on other nefarious individuals after no help, no sleep helping keep us up with Frico or Rico. I know that's right. Don't even get me started on Diddy. Okay, so here we go. Now listen to Trump's lying self.
About it. I'm not disappointed in anything. Who are you from?
BBC News.
I'm not disappointed. What would I be We just took in $4 trillion, and he says, "Are you disappointed about a delegation?" I know nothing about a delegation. I haven't even checked. Nothing's going to happen until Putin and I get together. Okay? And obviously, he wasn't going to go. He was going to go, but he thought I was going to go. He wasn't going if I wasn't there. And I don't believe anything's going to happen, whether you like it or not, until he and I get together. But we're going to have to get it solved because too many people are dying.
First of all, Trump needs to sit down somewhere. Did you hear that he said how he said nothing gets done? It's not going to be anything meaningful unless he's there, and Putin's not going unless he's there. Like, Trump, please get over your stupid self. Okay. So anyway, let's get into it, because days after Russian leader Putin was a no-show at a peace summit in Turkey, President Donald Trump confirmed that he would speak to both Putin and the Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. Now, Trump posted on his Truth Social platform that separate phone calls will take place on Monday and will cover both the war in Ukraine and trade. He said, "I'll be speaking by phone to President Vladimir Putin of Russia on Monday at 10 a.m. The subject of the call will be stopping the bloodbath that is killing, on average, more than 5,000 Russians and Ukrainian soldiers a week." This is what Trump said. And he also mentioned the trade. He said, I will then be speaking to President Zelensky of Ukraine, and then with President Zelensky, various members of NATO. Hopefully it will be a productive day. A ceasefire will take place, and this very violent war, a war that should never have happened, will end. God bless us all. Okay, Trump, please sit down somewhere. Now, Trump alluded to speaking with Putin during his 4-day trip to the Middle East, saying, "I think it's time for us to just do it." This is what he told reporters when he wrapped up his visit. He later told reporters after boarding Air Force One to begin the journey back to Washington that he may call Putin very soon. He said, "He and I will meet, and I think we'll solve it, or maybe not. At least we'll know. And if we don't solve it, it'll be very interesting." First of all, do you all hear what first of all, Trump says a whole bunch of nothing. Okay, do y'all notice how this man has his lips moving, but he's really not saying anything? Then Trump reiterated that he wasn't surprised that Putin skipped out on the talk set for Friday in Turkey. Putin didn't want to go because he's not there. That's what Trump said. Okay, Putin didn't want to go because he's not there. Putin didn't want to go because he doesn't want to have any peace talks with Vladimir. Okay, that's what it is, Vladimir Zelensky. He's not thinking about that man. Oh my gosh, why does Trump just keep it up? They just left that man in the dust, okay? Hold on, I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. This is a complete idiot.
From New York, from Washington, from a different place. These are great people. You know, you have to view them as people. And I don't want it to be a violent thing, but they're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
But you said it was close the other day. You said it was close
I think
to a
it's
deal.
close. I think,
so does that mean that they're going to
make
enrich at any level, like a civilian level?
No, I think they want to make a deal. India wants, you know, they're one of the highest taxed or tariff nations in the world. They make it almost impossible to do business. Do you know that they're willing to cut 100% of their tariffs for the United States
because of what I did? Is that deal coming soon?
Yeah, that'll come soon. I have a very good relationship with Putin. I think we'll make a deal. We have to get together, and I think we'll probably schedule it because I'm tired of having other people go and meet and everything else. Nobody uses leverage better than me. Look what I did to Iran.
So it's changing.
It's not changing. I always had that. I will use that if I have to. I'd rather not use that. By the way, that's a big deal. And he said, "Your country has been very good to us. I would love to do something to help with this situation you have with Air Force One." I said, "That's nice. What do you suggest?" And he suggested this. And I said, "You know what? That's very nice. That's very nice. I appreciate it.
what would be the price? He said, there is no price. I said, that's nice. Now, this plane's not for me. This goes to the United States Air Force for whoever is president. No, I thought he was terrific. He was so thankful about the sanctions because he knew he's not going to be able to bust through.
So maybe it'll be a turn there. We'll see.
I think he has a real chance. He's a strong guy. He's done some pretty tough things.
Now, do you all see how Trump is just a liar who lies? And he's sitting there talking about they give him that free airplane. It's going to be for whoever's the president. No, Trump, that's going to be for you. Okay, now what do you all think about that? Okay, because first of all, that is against the Constitution. Hold on, let me pull this up. Hold on. Oh my God, this man is such a liar. Trump is all about himself. He's breaking all kinds of rules. Okay, at the end of the day, do you already know that when Barack Obama was in office, they were trying to give him free stuff too? They were trying to give him diamond and ruby necklaces or some kind of stuff like that for him and Michelle, you know, all kinds of things. And he didn't accept any of it because he knows you're not supposed to. And he also knows what kind of things could come behind that. But Trump doesn't care. He's just a liar who lies. And he just is all full of greed. Him for himself. And then, you know, helping to see that his billionaire friends are getting what they want.
No, don't give us. I want to pay you. They're giving us a free jet. I could say, no, don't give us. I want to pay you $1 billion or 400 million or whatever it is. Or I could say, thank you very much.
When is a plane more than a plane? When the plane is a very lavish gift from the nation of Qatar. The thing is, the president already has a plane. Actually, two. Air Force One brought the president to Saudi Arabia. It's one of two heavily modified Boeing 747s that have flown every president since George Herbert Walker Bush.
You know, we're very disappointed that it's taken Boeing so long to build a new Air Force One.
But listen to Trump and it sounds like the president would like a new ride. He even had a sneak peek of the potential gift when he toured the Qatar aircraft in Florida last February.
You look at some of the Arab countries and the planes they have parked alongside of the United States of America plane. It's like from a different planet.
Enter the Qatari royal family and a plan to give the 747 described as a palace in the sky to the Trump administration. But the Constitution has something to say about that. The emolument clause says in part, no person shall accept any present from any king, prince, or foreign state. But Trump says the plane isn't for him.
If we can get a 747 as a contribution to our Defense Department to use during a couple of years while they're building the other ones, I think that was a very nice gesture.
According to reports, the current U.S. Attorney General, Pam Bondi, who lobbied for Qatar in the past, signed off on the deal, which would see the luxury aircraft become the property of Trump's presidential library or foundation before the end of his term.
Presidential library.
Quite the parting gift, says this law professor.
Presidents raise money for their foundations. Presidents sponsor, events to support their foundations and their libraries. It's possible that they'll be able to do this to skirt the legal problem, but it is in spirit and in effect a gift to him of just the kind that the emoluments clause was designed to prevent.
And then there's the massive security issues.
And the notion that somehow we're going to kind of pick up an airplane from the Qataris and turn this into Air Force One is almost preposterous.
This ex-CIA intelligence officer says Air Force One is more than a high-flying limo. It's a mobile command communication center, an aircraft designed to withstand electromagnetic attacks and thwart enemy aircraft. Not only would the opulent aircraft need to be retrofitted by the Pentagon, but then there's the security considerations.
You're worried about things such as, listening devices, things that could knock out security and counterintelligence systems. And so in reality, if we are going to uphold current security standards, you have to take this aircraft and rip it apart piece by piece.
While Trump sees nothing wrong with the gift,
I would never be one to turn down that kind of an offer. I mean, I could be a stupid person, say, no, we don't want a free, very expensive airplane.
There's also the question of what the Qataris get in return.
It either subtly or not so subtly has an influence. I mean, that's why people give gifts like this.
Already, the deal has led to pushback from far-right influencer Laura Loomer, who calls the deal a stain on the administration.
This kind of skeezy stuff.
And podcaster Ben Shapiro.
Taking sacks of goodies from people who support Hamas, the Muslim Brotherhood, Al Jazeera, all the rest. That's not America first.
Washington's relationship with the oil-rich nation of Qatar is complicated. There was a time when Trump himself called out Qatar, which has been linked to funding for Hamas.
The nation of Qatar, unfortunately, has historically been a funder of terrorism.
But times have changed. The Trump family are developing many new projects in the region. And so Trump, for his first official trip, bypassed traditional democratic destinations for Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates.
He feels comfortable amongst these kind of rulers, and of course he just admires one thing more than all else, which is wealth, and the Qataris certainly have it.
Okay, so as you can see, Trump is all about himself, and then he's sitting there telling all these lies. Now, here's the thing. First of all, he should know that the United States, Leon said, did he say stupid person? Did he? I was multitasking, honey. He probably did. He should have been talking about himself, if so. Now, with that all being said, there's a whole lot wrong with him accepting that. And for one, did you hear what the CIA agent was talking about? That's the same thing that I was thinking. Okay, first of all, they can hide any type of listening devices, cameras, or whatever in there. And Trump is so idiotic. When someone brought that to his attention days ago, he said, well, they could just take it apart and search it, you know, and do a sweep and all this. Who's going to do all that? Like, sit down somewhere. And the thing is, Air Force One is not just transportation for the president. It's supposed to be a symbol of the United States, okay? The office of the presidency and the American people. You know, that's what these patriots feel, okay? And this is why his MAGA crew has turned on him about accepting this gift, okay? So they say that when anyone sees Air Force One being used by our president, that's what we want them to see. We don't want them to see a gift to the president from Qatar. Okay, this plane would be forever tarnished by the face of it by the fact of it being a gift from Qatar and not a product that America had provided to its own president. Now, that fact alone should make it inappropriate and unseemly to accept this airplane. But there are many more problems accepting this plane and using it as Air Force One. Okay, so gifts to the United States from foreign governments can be appropriate. You know, just last weekend, the statue was gifted to the people of the United States from the people of France in perpetuity. You know, and here's the thing. Blaxican said, Queen, don't forget Qatar is allegedly giving the same treatment to PM Netanyahu and is involved in a legal proceeding, Qatargate. Okay. But, you know, Trump doesn't care because, listen, Trump sat there and denounced them not so long ago, was talking trash and all of this. But when it comes to him getting what he wants, he doesn't care. Everything goes out the window because this is the same man who's been sitting here deporting all of these people, talking about mass deportations and all these people who don't belong in this country, and even some of them who are illegals that were legally here, shipping them out, sending them to El Salvadorian jails. But now he wants to sit up here and let these white South Africans get here. Did y'all know they've already landed? Okay, they have already landed, in case you missed it. And here's the thing. He's sitting up here lying, acting as though the reason he's let them come here is because they're being killed, saying that there's genocide going on. Where in the hell's the genocide from? Where is their genocide? I mean, he is such a damn liar, trying to make it seem so extreme and in dire straits. And here's the thing. Even if it was genocide, well, just tell them to get in line. Okay, because there's other genocide going on. Is he going to let the Palestinians come here? Is he going to do that? I have several questions. Okay, don't they have issues going on? What about the people up there in the Congo? Is he going to let them come here? I heard they were having a whole genocide over there too. So what's really going down? We all know what Trump is up to. He is such a damn liar. It doesn't even make any sense. Okay, but anyway, hold on. Let me pull up this report. And by the way, just so you all know, we're going to talk about this in a few, but the Supreme Court has turned against him. And I find it all interesting because 7 out of the 9 Supreme Court justices were appointed by who? Yeah, I'm so glad you asked. Yours truly, President Nefarious Trump, okay? And they have turned on his arse. I bet he is so mad about that because y'all know how he gets. Okay, and so hold on for a second. Let me pull this up real quick. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Instead of her talking about genocide and all this craziness. It's a hot mess. Now, this is a report from Democracy Now! I'm going to put an overlay on this. Oh, as a matter of fact, hold on. I almost forgot. Before I get into that, let me show you all this video, honey, where Trump went over there to Saudi Arabia and just thought he was doing it big because they were over there treating him royal, like he was a king or somebody. He really thought he was really feeling himself. Okay, please pay attention. Check this out.
Saudi Arabia has rolled out the red carpet for Donald Trump.
Look
yes, the US president was given a royal welcome fit for a king for his visit to Saudi Arabia. Customs went out the window for Trump's trip as he was personally greeted by the Saudi Crown Prince, Prince Mohammed bin Salman, to his motorcade. $180-degree turn from Joe Biden's last trip to Saudi Arabia, where the prince sent a representative to meet with him and none of the fanfare that Trump received. Online commentators were quick to pick up on the vast differences in respect for the two presidents. This commentator said, "Look at the welcome ceremony for President Trump in Saudi Arabia. Now remember, the Saudi Crown Prince did not meet Biden at the airport. He made Biden come to meet him. America is back." And Trump's royal treatment didn't stop at the airport. He was given a motorcade surrounded by horses and American flags down the streets of Saudi Arabia. And as the ultimate sign of respect, the Crown Prince personally drove Trump to the birthplace of the nation in a buggy surrounded by ceremonial performances.
I am so through. Now, let me just tell you all something. These people don't have any respect for Trump. You actually think if they disrespected Biden, why in the hell would they have respect for Trump? Trump is the laughingstock. He's a whole clown. The whole world knows how narcissistic he is and how he loves to sit up there and have people praising him and licking his boots. These people are setting his dumb ass up. They're not praising him. They're just doing all of this because they know as long as you make him feel the way he wants to feel, like he's important, just give him attention, just say nice things to him and treat him good, he'll do whatever you want. Because at the end of the day, it's all about Trump's narcissistic ego. That's all that is, honey. These people are not thinking about him. Okay, and if he believes that, he's a bigger fool than he looks like. Look at him.
This commentator was floored by the spectacle, saying, "Trump is now being driven around the birthplace of Saudi Arabia by the Crown Prince himself. The level of respect shown here is unprecedented." Trump then stole the show again with his historic speech at the Saudi Investment Forum, which promoted world peace and renewed partnerships in the region.
The transformations have been unbelievably remarkable. Before our eyes, a new generation of leaders is transcending the ancient conflicts of tired divisions of the past and forging a future where the Middle East is defined by commerce, not chaos, where it exports technology, not terrorism, and where people of different nations, religions, and creeds are building cities together, not bombing each other out of existence. We don't want that.
Trump, sit your monkey arse down somewhere, sitting up here just thinking he got it all going on, honey. But then, like I said, Trump is all about himself. He thinks these people are just Toxic therapist said you just hating. I'm hating on Trump. Yeah, okay. If that's what you think, honey, go right ahead and think it. I don't have to explain myself. Trump is a damn idiot, okay? Okay, exactly, Panther Strike. Said this is some stupid shite. You are accepting a $400 million jet and nobody is supposed to give the orange man the side eye. Exactly. But honey, if you think that's crazy, this fool made some secret deal with El Chapo's family. But here's the thing, that's the kicker to it all. I thought that he had a problem with these cartels coming over here. I thought there was such a problem with them bringing illegal substances over here for people who look like him. But he's going to have a whole deal and let El Chapo's family come over here? Please, at the end of the day, honey, that is all so crazy. Okay, anyway, let me go to this video from Democracy Now! About these white people that call themselves South Africans. They're not Africans at the end of the day. Trump is something else, honey. Please pay attention. I'm going to cut on some music. Hold on, beloveds.
A group of some 59 Afrikaners arrived in the United States Monday after being granted refugee status.
Now, let me just let y'all know something. These Afrikaners that are coming over here, these are the ones that were all down with apartheid. Okay, so please pay attention. But now they want to act like racism is happening. Get out of here.
Afrikaners are the white South Africans who ruled the country during apartheid. This comes as the Trump administration has suspended refugee resettlement for almost everyone else in the world. Speaking Monday, Trump claimed white South Africans face racial discrimination, even though the country's white minority still owns the vast majority of farmland decades after the end of apartheid rule. Trump said he's allowing them to come to the United States to escape, quote, genocide.
It's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about, but it's a terrible thing that's taking place, and farmers are being killed. They happen to be white. But whether they're white or black makes no difference to me. But white farmers are being brutally killed and their land is being confiscated in South Africa.
On Monday, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa refuted Trump's claims that white people are being persecuted in his country, calling it, quote, a completely false narrative. On Tuesday, Ramaphosa recounted a conversation he'd had with Trump about the situation in his country.
I had a conversation with President Trump on the phone, and he said, what's happening down there? And I said, President, what you've been told by those people who are opposed to transformation back home in South Africa is not true. And I added to him, I said, we were well taught by Nelson Mandela and other iconic leaders like Oliver Tambo on how to continue to build a united nation out of the diverse groupings that we have in South Africa. We're the only country on the continent where the colonizers came to stay, and we have never driven them out of our country. So they are staying, and they're making great progress. It's a fringe grouping that does not have a lot of support, that is anti-transformation and anti-change, that would actually prefer to see South Africa going back to apartheid type of policies.
This comes as South African-born Trump advisor and multi-billionaire Elon Musk has also accused South Africa's government of promoting what he calls white genocide. Musk's grandfather moved his family to South Africa after embracing the country's apartheid system.
On Wednesday, Musk's artificial intelligence chatbot, Grok, became a trending topic on X when people tried to use it to answer questions and check facts. And the chatbot added the topic of white genocide in South Africa to its responses, telling users it was, quote, instructed by my creators to accept the genocide, quote, as real and racially motivated, no matter what the question was. For more, we're joined in Cape Town, South Africa by two guests. Herman Wasserman is with us.
Now, y'all see that? You see how they program this stuff? This is all a whole mess, okay?
Professor of Journalism, Director of the Center for Information Integrity in Africa at Stellenbosch University. His new piece for the website Africa is a Country is headlined Trump's Fake Refugees. Wasserman himself is a white South African, an Afrikaner. And Andile Zulu is a political analyst with the Alternative Information and Development Center. His new piece for the website Africa is a Country is titled Race, Power, and the Politics. What you thought when you heard President Trump charge white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I would say that my first response was one of incredulity, and later met with, I think with disgust even, and just rejection of this notion of a white genocide or whites being persecuted. And I think that view is shared by many others, white South Africans, and certainly the majority of South Africans in the country.
Well, Andile Zulu, if you could also respond to these claims of a white genocide in South Africa and Trump bringing over these 59 Afrikaners to the U.S., and talk about this in the context of this the new law that replaces the 1975 Expropriation Act in South Africa, and explain why that's been so controversial and what it entails.
Well, this accusation of white genocide emanating from the White House is a conspiracy theory and a myth that has been floating around echo chambers of right-wing populists and white nationalists for many decades now, particularly within the online space. And it essentially holds the accusation that white South Africans, in particular Afrikaans South Africans, are victims of deliberate, direct, state-sanctioned violence. And anyone who lives in this country, who's awake to the reality of this country, the inequality, the poverty, the unemployment that most Black South Africans have to endure, and including Indian and colored South Africans as well, knows that it's patently untrue. And the truth, however, is irrelevant to those who are perpetuating this myth. What matters is that it's a means through which you can mobilize anxiety, mobilize fear, and mobilize frustration from a segment, I think a relatively small segment of the population that is dissatisfied with the post-apartheid democracy and the loss of their political elevated status. It's a way in which you can mobilize fears here in South Africa and then appeal to a base within the MAGA movement in the US as well to portray the Donald Trump presidency as essentially being a crusader to defend white civilization, both in the USA and here. And this all began initially with the signing by the president, Ramaphosa, of the Expropriation Act, which in itself is not that much of a radical or progressive policy. It's a very procedural piece of legislation, which essentially changes the criteria through which government can expropriate private property for the public good and for the public use, on the basis of finding just and equitable compensation. And in fact, most legal experts have said that the instances in which you'll arrive at nil compensation, at no compensation, would be quite rare, actually. So this legislation isn't an assault on white livelihoods. It isn't even an attack on the dominance of private property relations in post-apartheid. But for Elon Musk and for Donald Trump, it's doing what right-wing populism
Okay, we already know what this is all about. Like that guy was saying, this is all to stoke fear, conflict, and division. Okay, that's all that is. Just a bunch of lies. And by the way, so the white South Africans have landed like 4 days ago. Okay, so let's go to that report, honey, because they already are here. And the Latinos are mad. We're going to go to what the Latinos have to say about it because they're mad. But hey, weren't they saying Latinos for Trump? Don't get mad now.
The first group of white South Africans granted refugee status by the Trump administration arrived in the U.S. Monday. The group included 49 Afrikaners, which is an ethnic group in South Africa made up of descendants of European colonists. The arrival comes as the Trump administration has moved to ban the majority of new refugee claims from other countries. President Trump addressed his decision to grant the refugee claim earlier Monday.
Farmers are being killed. They happen to be white. But whether they're white or black makes no difference to me. But white farmers are being brutally killed, and their land is being confiscated in South Africa. And the newspapers and the media, television media, doesn't even talk about it.
Let's bring in CBS News Justice Department correspondent Scott McFarland. Scott, what do we know about this group and this claim by the president?
Yeah, we were able to be at the hangar at Dulles International Airport when this convoy of these approximately 50 people from South Africa were brought here to Virginia for their first steps and their transfer to other U.S. communities. We saw a number of children, at least a dozen children among the group. We were denied access to speak with this group. The Trump administration sent two administrators to talk about why these people were here. One of them, a deputy secretary of state, said these individuals, these men, women, and children, were enduring, quote, harrowing circumstances back home, the threat of death, the threat of killing from others in South Africa that would qualify them for refugee status and resettlement here. But none of this is happening in a vacuum, is it, Lindsay? It's happening as the Trump administration cuts off refugee programs, reduces its staffing and its resources for its resettlement program. And
hold on, moderators, don't you all block anybody unless I tell you to. Don't block anybody unless I tell you to. I'm watching the chat.
makes it harder for other people in other dangerous parts of the world to get access to just this type of service. One of the things that's certain to stir controversy here, Lindsay, is how expedited this was. It moves so swiftly, getting these people from South Africa to the United States, the type of speed other refugees and resettlers have not experienced.
Has the administration addressed any of those comments or concerns?
Well, the administration did not take our questions at this resettlement in Dulles, Virginia today. They accepted some questions, did not speak to when we asked how many people are here, how many more are coming, is this going to happen more frequently? But it's clear this is a priority of the administration. The president signed an executive order in short order after taking over to liberate these people from South Africa, to bring them here to the United States. And there's every indication they can do so again. But it also happens as the administration turns off that valve from people.
Let me tell you all something. I'm watching the chat. I always watch the chat. Hey, the elder Baba of Truth. Peace, love, and blessings. I'm watching the chat. I'm just letting you guys know because I'm watching the chat. Anytime I'm talking about Trump, trust me, I'm watching the chat. And sometimes I don't block people right away because I might want to drop them the link. Okay, so just leave it to me. All right, thanks. She's just butt hurt. She's coming in here raising hell. She don't even know what she's talking about. Hold on. Big Word said, thanks to the Queen and FBA Blacks, they helped Blacks vote for Trump instead of that Kamala Harris Trump 22. Not thanks to the Queen, honey. I didn't help Blacks vote for Trump. I didn't tell anybody to vote for Trump. I didn't like Trump or Kamala. Both of them sucked as far as I was concerned.
People in other parts of the world to come here. When asked about why that was so, the administration argued, Lindsay, that the vetting was poor of refugees by the prior administration, and in this case, the vetting was strong.
Scott, President Trump announced his pick to lead the Library of Congress after firing Carla Hayden, the first African-American and first woman to lead it. What have you learned?
The acting librarian of Congress will be former president, or the president's former defense lawyer, Todd Blanche, who now serves as the Deputy United States Attorney General. He will have a side hustle. The side hustle will be being the Librarian of Congress, a Herculean task and job in any context. Carla Hayden's firing was a shock to her employees, to many members of Congress. Lindsay, she was fired in a brief email by the Presidential Personnel Office late Friday. One question remains, will there be a legal challenge to that firing? Because this is the executive branch weighing in pretty heavily on the research arm of the U.S. Congress.
Scott McFarland, thank you.
In other news, Georgia residents are going to be happy to hear this. It just came out. There's a new website.
Now let's talk about it because now all the Latinas are mad. Oh, and let me tell you all something too. When racist people come here talking crazy, honey, y'all need to stop letting them get y'all upset, honey, because they don't make me mad. That's why I'm always laughing when I go in on them because they're so ridiculous and they're mad and they want you to be mad. So don't let them get you upset at the end of the day. Mad for what? Okay. I just like to read their comments so I can see just what they're mad about. Because the reason she was mad is not only because I'm going in on Trump, but because I was talking about those white South Africans. First of all, fuck them. They're the people that are over there during apartheid that were raising all the hell and being racist themselves. Okay, now they want to cry foul, and now all of a sudden they're the victims. Okay, so I find it all interesting. Honey, like miss me with it. But now, funny thing is, the Latinas are over here. Okay, exactly, Nina. You know I will, honey. Please, that could miss me with it. And here's the thing: what I find interesting is that the Latinas are over here. They're all mad and butthurt now. And as per usual, they want black folk to come and stand with them. But my thing is, y'all were sitting up here talking about Latinas for Trump. Where y'all at now? Huh? Where are they at now? I wonder. Okay. Please miss me with it because Trump is not studying them. Trump will say whatever he needs to say to whomever he needs to say it so he can get what he wants. Okay? That's what he does. That's exactly what he does. Now I'm going to go to this video that this young lady named Noella Reacts. She posted some clips of these Latinas mad or whatever. I'm going to go to that. I'm going to use an overlay because I don't have permission to use this video. Okay, so let's get into it. And then we got to talk about some other stuff. I just want to get this Trump stuff out of the way because Trump's a whole idiot. After we discuss this, let me see. Trump, they're trying to impeach Trump. We're going to talk about that. And then Schumer slamming Trump. And then also the Supreme Court turned against him. And like I told you guys, the 7 out of the 9, okay, 7 out of the 9 justices, that fool put he appointed 7 of them. They all turned on him, honey. And I know he is so mad about that because he thought he really had it all going down when he did that. He thought he was laying the ground. And here's the thing. Trump doesn't even care about those stupid police that he's sitting up there acting like he's all concerned for the police. He's just doing that so that when anything happens to where he needs to go to prison or jail, that they won't come and lock his behind up. Okay, that's all that's about. Trump don't care about anybody but himself, honey. Please pay attention.
This isn't right. This is so sad.
This is for all of my Latinos for Trump, which I will never forgive you for putting this man back in office, especially because your roots, he was never going to pick you. Anyways, so remind me again how you guys were for a person that wanted to get all the people that didn't belong here or came here the wrong way. Why are we trying to fly back white South Africans? Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to bring in some white South Africans. If you don't get the message now, like you guys are probably the type of people that like your ex told you that they needed to focus on themselves and you believe them. Like that's the type of people that I believe you are.
Hold on, let me read a couple of comments. Vince I am said, leave your personal opinions, cognitive dissonance, feelings, and emotions out of the Queendom chat. If you can't do that, you can exit stage left quietly. Not quietly. Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, so Porsche Man says, I support sending any blacks to Africa. Oh, great. Thank you. Can you pay for my ticket? I'll book my flight. You can donate it to my Cash App. It is $QueenAShakur. Shakur spelled SHAKUR. Now, since you support sending blacks to Africa, honey, I sure want to go. I want to go to Ghana. Okay, I want to go to Kenya. And I also want to go to Nigeria. So which one do you want to pay for? If you want to pay for all 3 tickets, that'll be just great. Like I said, my Cash App, once again, is $QueenAShakur, SHAKUR, honey. Anybody else want to go to Africa? Honey, we got a sponsor up in the chat, Porsche Man. And if you're driving a Porsche, honey, I'm sure you got the coins. So just let us know when you want to donate. Matter of fact, if you don't want to send to the Cash App, you can send it to my PayPal or you can send a super chat. Thanks, peace, and blessings. Now let's continue.
Because this man was never going to pick you. He was never for you. And the fact that you fell for the BS is beyond me. This was never about getting criminals out. This was about getting people like them back in and back in control. So like that whole rhetoric, it was a lie. I don't know if you've noticed, because you guys have been very quiet. I haven't seen a single Latino for Trump come out and like defend their stance, because you have no stance. They want us out. We are the target. Okay. And you were complicit in getting this man back into power. But it's fine. Like, we'll have a whole therapy session about it. But yeah, it's very clear what they're trying to do.
Hold on, beloveds. Toxic therapist, beloved, do I need to drop you the link? Do you want me to drop you the link? Because you got a lot to say today, honey, and I'm here for it. I got time. Do you want me to drop you the link? Because first of all, I specifically said it wasn't about me supporting anybody. When it comes to deportation, fool, what I was trying to express to everyone was that we as Black people, if they're shipping people that are here legally, whether they're immigrants or not, that could start happening to us. That's what I specifically said. Now, if you're so stupid that you can't comprehend plain English, okay, or if you're the kind of person that foolishly likes to take people's words and twist it to paint your own ignorant narrative because you're obtuse, just say that. But don't sit here and try to lie and say that I said something that I didn't say. Okay, and here's the thing. Bottom line is, even if I was supporting Latinos, what does that have to do with them supporting and voting for Trump? Because you see, all Latinos didn't vote for Trump. Okay, I'm talking about the ones that did. Okay, is that all right with you? Because I think you're on the Trump bandwagon too, aren't you? Okay, so don't try to drag me down with you, honey. All right, honey, it's a whole lot of people mad about this Trump video, honey. Y'all can sit back and relax, okay? I'm not going to ban you unless you talk real crazy. But other than that, I can gladly drop the link if anybody wants to get up here and talk your ish, because y'all know how I get down, okay? Y'all know how I get down, baby, because y'all can't out-talk me. You can't roast me. I'm the best to do it, okay? So keep talking slick. All right, let's continue. I'm here for it.
And you know what? Like, you can still like make amends, but you have to start standing up. Like, you have to start speaking up. Just like you were so loud to defend this man, like, we need you now to step up and get united with us and back our community up and step up, because it's getting more radical out here. And they're only doing it step by step. They were never going to come out like in Star Wars Death Troopers style. No, they were going to do it.
Meet you at the blue flame and say it to your face. Honey, say what to your face? You're the one that has so much to say. How about I drop that link and you can get up here and say it to mine? Honey, I'm not coming to the blue flame. What do I look like? Is that where you work? Is that where you work at, honey? I didn't even know the blue flame was still open, honey. But no, I won't meet you there. But if you really want to meet up, you can meet me at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium out front. That's where we can meet up. Then what? I don't have to say anything to your face, baby, because if I pull up, it's not going to be to talk. We're talking right now. If I pull up on anybody, it won't be to talk, okay? It'll be to throw those hands, and I'm good at it. So what's up? What's up? Mercedes-Benz Stadium or no? Yeah, I didn't think so. Miss me with it.
Piece by piece, and it's getting worse. So we need all the help that we can get, and you guys need to make this right.
Let's talk about the silence of these Latino content creators, especially those that celebrate coming from immigrant parents or being immigrants themselves, that are not standing up in support with migrants that are in danger today. Our communities are facing a significant threat with La Migra, deportations, hateful rhetoric, fear. This is a real crisis. There are hella of these content creators that are benefiting from our community that are completely silent. And so I'd like to ask, why the silence? Is it because these discussions do not fit your brand? It's not part of your aesthetic? Or are you ignorant and not willing to learn? Choosing brand over humanity, especially over a community that has helped you grow, is unacceptable from my perspective. Silence is not neutral. Silence sides with the status quo and the forces that are creating harm. Staying silent implies that the community's suffering is not important, that the community's suffering is acceptable. If you are staying silent, you are complicit in what's happening right now. If you are benefiting from a community, it is your responsibility to stand in solidarity with them. Otherwise, you are exploiting the community. The least you could do is speak up, acknowledge the reality of the situation, show some basic human empathy, use your platform to share resources.
Hold on, y'all. Toxic therapist said, I forgot you don't work there anymore. Baby, I never worked at the Blue Flame, baby. That's ghetto. Baby, the queen worked at Magic City, okay? That's where I worked at. I didn't work at the Blue Flame, boo-boo. I worked at Magic City and Strokers. Now, what's up? Like I said, Mercedes-Benz Stadium or no? Do I need to drop the... Don't you think you busting me out, boo-boo? I never worked at the Blue Flame, baby. It was the Magic City and Strokers. Now what? What's going down? All right? I also went to college. Let me be with it. Let's continue.
Amplify other voices if you don't know. Show solidarity. Let the community know that you stand with them, that their lives matter more than brand deals and metrics. You're one of these content creators. Let me be super clear. Your silence is loud as hell. It reveals your stance.
So actually, guys, in South Africa, there is some white people they call.
Ooh, honey, they are mad. Okay, they are mad today, honey. Okay. Gonna tell me to meet them at the Blue Flame. Baby, I'm not coming to your job to meet you. I'm not coming to your job to meet you so you can get me locked up talking about meet you at the Blue Flame. Honey, over there in the ghetto, never that. All right. Anyway, y'all hear this. They're upset. They're mad. And that man was correct. Like, where are they? They're quiet now. Y'all had so much to say out there, big up in Trump. Okay, Latinas for Trump. And all that. And where's the black MAGA for Trump? Where are they? Where are they? Okay. Talk to Shay said, no shade. I just remember getting a lap dance from you, precious memories. Honey, you wish. Okay. Keep dreaming, honey. Okay. You must got me mixed up with I ain't even gonna say what I was about to say. But anyway, nonetheless, Jayla said, Trump supporters, please unfollow. Oh, Jayla, honey, why is everybody mad today, honey? Y'all are doing the most, okay? Y'all are doing the most. Sit down somewhere, honey. Jayla, you got to go. All right? This I am said, didn't Black Americans try to warn them? Now y'all loud as hell. Exactly. Okay? Wow. Just a hot arse mess. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. Somebody said, hold on. These comments are hilarious. Songwriter Sonny said, Googling strokers. Not Googling strokers. Y'all are hilarious. Okay, but anyway, let me continue. Hold on, I was trying to see what Kiki's comment was. I could have sworn Kiki said something hilarious. Said, damn, this shit is always not very. Okay. Oh my goodness, what is really going on? Why is everybody mad at the queen? Honey, I'm just trying to do my little Hold on, Mel said they are at the unemployment office. Oh my goodness, honey. Let me stop playing with y'all. Okay, back to business. So here's the thing. Let's talk about it because, as I said, these people arrived here in the country. They arrived. Hold on. The hood really said toxic high as F. She punching the air right now. I mean, I guess they are mad if they work at Blue Flame making $5 a dance. Damn. How long does it take you to make $500 per night? I have so many questions, okay? That's what I'm talking about. I got so many questions. Okay, anyway. Okay, so let's get back to business. Now, let's talk about the Supreme Court turning on Trump and also how they want to impeach his dumb arse. Okay, likes up, everyone, please like and share. Okay, here it is. Supreme Court against Trump. Now, I know he's not feeling that. I'm going to share my screen.
I mean, today the Supreme Court struck a big blow to Trump's radical deportation agenda, ruling against the Trump administration 7-2. In those 7 were 3 of Trump's hand-picked nominees that he nominated and got confirmed. They all ruled against him. Now, to understand what happened at the court today, we also have to go back to just last month when the Trump administration suddenly told more than 50 Venezuelan immigrants that they would be deported within 24 hours, presumably to that notorious prison in El Salvador. At least one of those men says he was told to sign removal papers written in English, which he could not understand since he only speaks Spanish. Now, you may remember this dramatic footage from an NBC News crew literally following a bus full of detained men, headed toward the airport before turning around at the last second. That was because the ACLU rushed to court to stop those deportations. And they managed to get the Supreme Court to issue an emergency order in the dead of night, halting those deportations until they could weigh in on the case. Justice Samuel Alito dissented that opinion, blasting his colleagues for issuing the ruling, quote, literally in the middle of the night. I mean, I guess he was cranky as someone disturbed his beauty sleep to keep more than 50 men from being sent to a foreign gulag for life. There is that. Since then, the justices have apparently gotten some rest. And today, they have decided that the Trump administration cannot simply deport these men without giving them adequate time to go before a court and plead their case. You know, that little thing called due process. The justices wrote in their majority opinion today, quote, under these circumstances, notice roughly 24 hours before removal, devoid of information about how to exercise due process rights, surely does not pass muster. Now, for months now, the Trump administration has been losing court case after court case after court case over their attempts to carry out some version of Stephen Miller's fever dream of deporting millions of people with no due process. Just today, another judge grew noticeably frustrated with the Trump administration as they continue to drag their feet on returning Kilmaro Brego Garcia. Well, members of the public also are angry. They rallied outside the court to express their frustration as well. You can see it there. That comes after big protests in places like Boston yesterday over Trump's attempt to end birthright citizenship, and these protests in Milwaukee over Trump's criminal prosecution of a judge who was charged with helping a man evade ICE agents. Or these protests you can see right there on your screen outside an ICE office in San Jose. Judges and the American public are definitely keeping the pressure on the administration. And with the rest of his agenda now in a bit of peril, Trump's strongman tactics are starting to look weaker and weaker. They're definitely not working. Late today, in response to the Supreme Court's ruling, Trump once again took to social media to complain that, quote, the Supreme Court of the United States is not allowing me to do what I was elected to do. Poor you. That's all he could muster, a whiny complaint on social media. Feels kind of, dare I say, low energy? Or to put this in terms Trump might understand, has anyone noticed that since his second term began, things aren't looking so hot?
You sure aren't looking so hot. Well, Trump, how do you like that? FBI justice says all of them can get up out the country, legal and illegal. They codes it up with white supremacy, now lay in that bed. Ooh, FBI justice, you are so nefarious, honey. Okay, but that's my point. A lot of these people that thought Trump was going to be operating in their best interest are in for a rude awakening. And that includes the Black people that were favoring Trump and voting for him as well. At the end of the day, how are they feeling right now? Okay, Trump lied and said the economy was going to be so much better as soon as he got in office. No, it's not. Okay, it's in the tank. There's still issues with the tariff trade going on and all of this. Okay, there's going to be food shortages, food coming off the shelves. I already told you all weeks ago that I said give it about 5 to 6 or 7 weeks. Okay. So it's just all bad. And where are they now? This is my thing. These people were so loud before the election. So where are they now? Don't get quiet now. Okay. And thank you, FBI Justice, for your contribution to the channel, beloved, and your insight into the topic. Peace, love, and blessings. I appreciate you. At the end of the day, honey, Trump is dragging this country to hell. I hope they know it. Okay. And then what's this about him cozying up with El Chapo's family? Let's talk about that. Because what's really going on? I thought he said, oh, we can't have these cartels coming over here to our country, bringing all these illegal substances. Isn't that what he said? Isn't that what he said? People coming over here, smugglers and all that. Now, Mexican officials on Wednesday, they said Wednesday that 17 family members of drug cartel leaders crossed into the United States. Okay, last week as part of a deal between a son of the former head of the Sinaloa cartel and the Trump administration. Do y'all hear this? Yeah, this is what Trump's up to. Meanwhile, he's trying to ship people that are supposed to be here up out of here to an El Salvadorian prison. Don't y'all find that interesting? Because if these people were such crooks and criminals and he was so worried about them, why is he letting these other thugs come over here? Because they're probably thugs just like El Chapo. All right, please pay attention. Now, goes on to say Mexican Security Secretary Omar Garcia Harfuch confirmed a report by independent journalist Luis Chaparro, that family members of Ovidio Guzman Lopez had entered the U.S. Lopez, the son of imprisoned Sinaloa cartel boss Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, was extradited to the United States in 2023. Now, among the family members allowed into the U.S. was Guzman's former wife, Griselda Lopez Perez. In the radio interview, hold on here. Okay, now in a radio interview, Garcia Harfuch said it was clear to Mexican authorities that the deal was made during negotiations between Guzman Lopez and guess who else? I want y'all to hear this. This is what your government's up to, honey, and the U.S. government. But he's sitting there talking all the trash about Biden. Now, it is evident that his family is going to the U.S. because of a negotiation or an offer that the Department of Justice is giving him, okay? None of the family was being pursued by Mexican authorities. Video footage posted online Tuesday by Spanish language outlet Radio Formula shows Guzman's family carrying luggage as they wait to be processed at the Tijuana-San Diego border crossing. They reportedly packed $70,000 in cash with them. The confrontation by Garcia Harfuch came the same day the Office of U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi announced it was charging a number of top cartel leaders, okay, with narco-terrorism for the first time since the Trump administration declared a number of cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. Pam Bondi, she is all up Trump's butthole. Okay, this is all so crazy. Anyway, let me be clear. Let me be direct to the leaders of the Sinaloa cartel. You are no longer the hunters. You are the hunted. U.S. Attorney Adam Gordon of the Southern District of California said, you will be betrayed by your friends. You will be hounded by your enemies, and you will ultimately find yourself and your face here in a courtroom in the Southern District of California. Guzman Lopez, age 35, also known as the Mouse, is one of four of Guzman's sons, known as Los Chapitos, who ran the Sinaloa cartel in their father's absence. Now, at his peak, the elder Guzman was one of the most powerful drug traffickers in the world, turning the Sinaloa cartel into a major force and one of the largest groups responsible for illegal drugs pouring into the U.S. But Trump claims that he is so concerned about drugs coming over here and cartels and all that. He was arrested and extradited to the U.S. in 2017 and convicted of drug trafficking as well as other crimes. And he's currently imprisoned in Colorado. But what do y'all think about that? Because I find it all interesting. Let me see what this is right here. Now, listen, let's talk about these smugglers that were at the southern border. Hold on.
Days ago, Border Patrol believes that these two women, these two American citizens, both of them, tried to smuggle two little girls across the border. They were nabbed at a checkpoint in Westmoreland, California. The 10 and 12-year-old girls from Mexico, asleep in the back seat. But the agents quickly realized that these were not their children. These were not their relatives. Nothing matched on the names or IDs as they scanned for information on these individuals. These women face smuggling charges, and it happened at the El Centro border sector of the border. Gregory Bovino is the sector's chief patrol agent, and he says that it is almost unbearable to think what heinous crime awaited these little girls. Chief, thank you very much for being here. This is a story that we have covered a lot as we have seen these different examples. Is it your contention that these women are working, they're American citizens working for Mexican cartels and part of a smuggling operation? Is that the charge?
Yes, Martha, and good afternoon. Thank you for having me. Undoubtedly, these two United States citizens are working for the cartels. The cartels control just about everything on the south side of that border. So undoubtedly, they were working for cartels. And I think it's important to realize that a cartel or a human smuggler will stop at nothing to make a profit, including smuggling unaccompanied juveniles north for unknown reasons.
So one of the disturbing things that we've talked about here was during the Biden administration, the effort to push these kids out of the shelters and basically allow them to leave with anyone who said, you know, I'm here to pick up these kids. That's the suggestion. And Madeline Rowley reported on this for the Free Press, and we spoke to her for my podcast a while back. But here's a quote from a whistleblower who said, I had multiple cases that I reported on. One in particular where we sent 329 children to one address, 2 garden apartments in Houston, Texas. And then the supervisor told this whistleblower to take no steps to investigate further, but to keep moving migrants out of the facilities more quickly. Does this scenario line up with what you have seen in your part of the border?
Sure, Martha, whenever you have a border catastrophe or a border crisis, I use those two words interchangeably. You could probably use any word and I would agree with you there. But a border catastrophe in which millions of illegal aliens are pouring across that border, absolutely kids are going to be lost in the shuffle of that millions of people. Here in the El Centro sector, we saw some very heinous acts of child smuggling that we did uncover, but what about the ones that we didn't? What about those children that we didn't uncover that are somewhere in the United States right now, having God knows what happening to them?
It's so true. And I think that's one of the really important things to remember as we see the numbers at the border drop a lot, which is a huge, a great development. So many of these children are still here. They're still here somewhere in this country, in cases living with people that they don't know and likely sold into human trafficking and sex trade. And, so just as an example, do you know what happened to these 2 little girls that were asleep in the backseat of this car in this case?
Sure. In this case, the 2 children now reside with Office of Refugee and Resettlement, and we hope to find family members suitable for them to be reunited with. But that's often not the case, as you said, with these other children that are in the United States. And, just some of the things, Martha, we've seen on the border just last year, just a few months ago, we had a young juvenile, approximately 4 years old, was drugged, pushed across the border, and we caught him at the same traffic checkpoint that these 2 juveniles were caught or rescued last Tuesday, except that 4-year-old that was drugged actually had non-surgical sutures in his abdomen. We took the child to the hospital, had the sutures removed, but it begs the question, what's happening to these children? And I think that it's a larger conversation. I'm glad you're covering this today because real-time information from the border over those past 4 years was virtually non-existent.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a story we need to continue to dig into. And there needs to be an active operation to find these children. Some of them are working in sweatshops, and some of them are in sex trafficking operations. And Greg Bovino, we thank you.
That's a darn shame. These poor children. I mean, this world is just so full of corrupt and ignorant people and nefarious. Let me tell you all something, beloveds. Before we get into this next segment, hold on. I just got breaking news about this explosion at a Palm Springs fertility clinic in the California desert city. We'll talk about that in a second, but let me just tell you all something. Listen, everybody in the chat, let me just say this to you all. When we have trolls come in here talking crazy, what you all need to learn to do is stop giving them all of your attention. Do you all not realize that these trolls come in here to cause mayhem and just disrupt and distract us from what we're talking about? Like, some of y'all get too emotional when these people come in here. Forget them. Who are they? Who cares? And at the end of the day, here's the thing. You see here's the thing. You have to realize that sometimes these trolls come in here just to distract us, for one, but sometimes they come in here and say things to try to tick us off, to make us mad. That's why they don't make me mad. I just laugh at them. And you know what I'm saying? And then here's the thing. When you feed into it and then you get upset, that's what they like. Okay? That's what they like. And it's hilarious to me. Nicole said the trolls are just weirdos with life. I mean, they're just anticipate said they're energy vampires. Exactly. Do you follow my spiritual channel? Because you know I talk about those energy vampires. You see, here's the thing. I don't let them bother me. They come here trying to say crazy stuff to tick you off. For example, the one that came here saying that he would gladly, Porsche man, isn't that his name? Talk about he would gladly pay for Black people to go to Africa. That's why I was like, okay, great. Can you sponsor me? Can you buy my ticket? I bet he wasn't expecting to hear that. Okay. And then toxic therapist in here talking about meet me at the Blue Flame. I'm like, is that where you work? Oh, but you used to work there. I never worked in no damn Blue Flame, but I bet his or her, I don't know if that was a male or female, but I bet you their face was so cracked when I said, no, honey, I worked in Magic City and Strokers. You see, that's what you do. Okay, that's what you do. You don't argue with them. You just say something slick back to them that'll make them mad, because that pisses them off. Don't let them piss you off. Because here's the thing. When you allow people to say things that tick you off, then they can control you. Okay, they control your energy and they can control your mood. Nobody controls my mood except for me. Okay, you can't make me mad unless I want to get mad. Yeah, they are miserable, and misery loves company. Absolutely, Mel. That's why I said what I said. I'm like, honey, no, it was Magic City. Okay, get it right, and Strokers. Okay, I bet that threw them for a loop. Then they're gonna try to say, oh yeah, I got a dance from you. Yeah, right. Okay, sit down somewhere, honey. I just say whatever I want to say just to piss them off. Okay, they don't know whether I'm serious or not, but they get pissed off when you don't react a certain way. So that's what y'all need to realize. Okay, I'll tell these fools anything. Think about the one that came in here yesterday talking about I'm up here lying, saying I'm a lawyer. Have I ever said I was a lawyer? And why would I need to when I have a whole PhD? Like this, people are just so ridiculous. So that's why they're funny to me. Don't let them make y'all mad. Okay, because here's the thing. This is what y'all also need to realize. You guys know that we have probably, if not the most funniest, one of the most fun chats and channels on YouTube. I don't care what anyone says. We definitely have the most nefarious chat. So some people will come in here and see how we're laughing and we're interacting. I'm interacting with you all. You're interacting with me. You're interacting amongst yourselves. We're having a good time. Okay, and that gets them upset. Thank you, Leon said, when they upset us, they feed off our energy. Exactly. Okay, this is what they do. They want to come in here and disrupt because they see us over here having a good time and enjoying ourselves, honey. And so they get mad and want to come here and say something slick. Like, don't let them bother y'all. Like, who are they? And I'm watching the chat for the most part, specifically when I'm talking about subjects that pertain to Trump or something about some social injustice or racism. I'm always watching the chat because I know here they come. But you know what they want you to do is get all angry and start going in on them and calling them names. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, don't even worry about it because I'll handle them. Panther Strike said, I surely have enjoyed this broadcast and you, Queen, for the past 6 years. Thank you, beloved. And I enjoy you all too. Now, FBA Justice says, come what may, FBA will be fine on the other side of Trump and his Nazi cabinet. That's right, beloved, because we are resilient, okay? We were the first here, and we're going to be the last. That's how that goes. So we don't have anything to worry about, honey. Trump is going to be gone before we will with his silly self. He'll be gone, okay? These 4 years are going to go by so quickly, I promise you, okay? They're going to be going by so quickly. He thinks he's going to be here in 2028. No, he's not, okay? No, he's not. And hopefully he'll be in prison where he belongs, okay? Right next to Diddy, far as I'm concerned, with his silly self. And then he had the nerve. Let me tell y'all, first of all, before I talk about this explosion, let's talk about what he said about Bruce Springsteen. Oh, honey, he has the nerve. But first of all, let's talk about what Bruce said about him. FBA Justice, thank you for your insight to the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. And then songwriter Sonny, where are you? Now, when I sat there and told toxic therapists that I worked at Magic City and Strokers, why did songwriter Sonny start Googling it? Okay. Like I'm serious. Okay. But so anyway, let's get into it. Okay. So Bruce Springsteen gave his latest. I'm a Bruce Springsteen fan, by the way. Okay, so Bruce Springsteen gave his latest stinging criticism of President Trump and his administration, calling them treasonous and incompetent to kick off the first show of his British tour this week. Now, the president responded in a Truth Social post that included criticism of the rocker's skin, honey, and telling him to keep his mouth shut until returning to the U.S. So what are you going to do, Trump? What are you going to do if he talks trash, if he criticizes you? What, are you not going to let him back in the country? What, are you going to try to deport him? Now he wants to target Bruce Springsteen? Like, miss me with it, okay? Anyway, Springsteen, a long and prominent supporter of Democratic presidential candidates, made his remarks at a concert in Manchester, England on Wednesday during the first of his Land of Hopes and Dreams tour. Now, the mighty E Street Band is here tonight to call upon the righteous power of art, of music, of rock and roll in dangerous times. In my home, the America I love, the America I've written about, that has been a beacon of hope and liberty for 250 years, is currently in the hands of a corrupt, incompetent, and treasonous administration. Hallelujah. Let the church say amen, because no lies detected. That's exactly what they are, a bunch of bumbling idiots. Now, the 75-year-old rocker, who later shared a transcript and video of his remarks on his website and YouTube channel, said supporters of democracy to raise your voices against authoritarianism and let freedom ring. Throughout the concert, Springsteen accused Mr. Trump and his administration of authoritarianism, rolling back civil rights, blocking free speech, and taking sadistic pleasure in the pain that they inflict on loyal American workers. He says they're rolling back historic civil rights legislation that led to a more just and plural society. They're abandoning our great allies and siding with dictators against those struggling for their freedom. Now, on Friday, Mr. Trump, Orange Man, Agent Orange, responded on his, that's me calling him that, responded on his social media platform saying that the rocker is just a pushy, obnoxious jerk. Hold on, let me show y'all what this fool said, because he really tried to go in, honey. He was so mad. You know, he cannot stand any type of negative criticism. Okay, so this is what he said. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Hold on just a second. So I see that highly overrated Bruce Springsteen goes to a foreign country to speak badly about the president of the United States. Never liked him, never liked his music or his radical left politics. And importantly, he's not a talented guy, just a pushy, obnoxious jerk who fervently supported crooked Joe Biden, a mentally incompetent fool, and our worst president ever, who came close to destroying our country. If I wasn't elected, it would have been gone by now. Ha! Oh, really? Sleepy Joe didn't have a clue as to what he was doing, but Springsteen is dumb as a rock and couldn't see what was going on, or could he? Which is even worse. This dried out prune of, no, he didn't, y'all hear it? The shade. This dried out prune of a rocker, his skin is all atrophied out to keep his mouth shut. Okay, then put it in all caps, okay, until he gets back into the country. That's just standard fare. Then we'll all see how it goes for him. What are you going to do, Trump? Now, what does he exactly mean when he says, then we'll see how it goes for him? What are you going to do, deport the damn man because he went in on you with facts? Okay, Trump is an idiot. And then talking about Bruce Springsteen, I'm sorry, but who looks better? Who looks better for their age, Trump or Bruce? This is an older picture of Bruce right here. That's him right there. Okay, Trump, please sit down. Call somebody a dried out prune. I'm talking about he went in. He went all in. Trump, please sit down somewhere. Sir, you wear diapers, okay? And you don't change them on time, apparently. Do y'all remember that day Trump had on those light-colored pants, and then it looked like he had sat in some chocolate milkshake? Like, Trump, you're the last one who needs to be trying to talk about somebody, honey, okay? Please sit down somewhere. Okay, trying to go in on this man. Nicole said Trump's skin looks like flour tortillas. Hold on, wait a minute. What? Darius said Trump has nerve talking about looks when he looks like a badly carved jack-o'-lantern. honey, y'all are hilarious. Okay. I'm gonna let y'all start going in on the trolls, honey, because y'all do a better job than I ever could. Oh, Mel, you are wrong for that. Okay, he needs to sit down somewhere. Oh my goodness, he's gone over there, honey, and they told him he's gonna get a free plane. Now he thinks he's running stuff. Oh, I mean, he thought he was living lavish. Did you all see how he was walking? Did y'all see how he was walking over there in Saudi Arabia, honey? He thought he was doing it. Okay, Trump, please have several seats, sir. Okay, please have several seats. Now, you don't let cartel family members over here cross the borders, okay, but you sit up there and talk about, it's so many people that you need to get out of the country. You're going to have mass deportations, but you let the people that you want to come over here come. That's what you do. Let's talk about the House Democrat forces impeachment vote against Donald Trump 3 days ago with its stupid self. Sitting up here trying to go in on Bruce Springsteen. I know you didn't, honey. Fresh Air said Trump to look like a Hail Mary hit a Bloody Mary in the end zone. God damn. Not a Hail Mary hit a Bloody Mary. Y'all are a mess. Okay, but let's go to the next clip. Lights up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Songwriter Sonny said, them copper bangs got him feeling himself. Not copper bangs. Oh, my goodness, y'all are nefarious.
Solution to impeach President Trump as well?
Yeah, and that resolution doesn't look like it has the buy-in even from his fellow Democrats. So this member of Congress has put this resolution on the floor. He's a House Democrat, Sheree Tenlander. He has put it on the floor. It will be tabled most likely in a vote tonight because Democratic leadership have signaled that they will join Republicans, and Democratic members of the House will as well, to table this motion to impeach President Trump. It doesn't have the support of House Democratic leadership, but it is a resolution that this individual member says is a long time coming. And frankly, he promises to continue to bring it up over and over and over again based on what he says are the objections he has with this administration and President Trump. But again, House Leader Hakeem Jeffries of the Democrats, as well as other House members of Democratic leadership, not in support of this effort, very much likely to fail tonight on the floor.
All right. We're going to try and keep up with you, Joe O'Brien on the Hill.
They need to get Trump up out of here. They need to get Trump out of the office real quick, okay? Linda said, please impeach him. I know that's right. They need to get rid of Trump ASAP. Trump is dragging this country straight to hell. That's what he's doing, okay? Now listen to this. This is breaking news. It says explosion at Palm Springs Fertility Clinic rocks California desert city. Now, this came out 20 minutes ago, it looks like. Okay, so officials in California say police and firefighters are responding to an explosion that rocked the city of Palm Springs. The city of Palm Springs said Saturday in a social media post that the explosion happened at around 11 a.m. local time and that residents were being asked to avoid the area around North Indian Canyon Drive near East Tecava Drive. They say investigators from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, in other words, the ATF, they basically are on their way to the scene to help assess what happened. Okay, now Dr. Mar Abdallah, who runs the American Reproduction Centers for Fertility Clinic, where the explosion occurred, told the Associated Press in a phone interview that all of his staff were safe and accounted for. Now, the explosion damaged the practice's office space where it conducts consultations with patients, but left the IVF lab, and all the stored embryos were unharmed. All of them there were unharmed. So they say, I really have no clue what happened. Now, this was what Abdallah says. Thank God today happened to be a day that we have no patience. Nima Tabrizi, age 37 of Santa Monica, said he was inside a cannabis dispensary nearby when he felt a massive explosion, saying the building just shook. And we go outside and there's a massive cloud of smoke. Crazy explosion. It felt like a bomb went off. We went up to the scene and we saw human remains. Oh my goodness. So some people were killed. Apparently, Palm Springs is a Tony community in the desert, about a 2 hour drive east of Los Angeles, known for upscale resorts and a history of celebrity residents. Y'all hear that? Now, that sounds suspicious to me. What do you all think? A fertility clinic? That just sounds kind of strange. It's like when you hear about those abortion clinics. I don't know if that was done on purpose or not, but prayers for anybody that lost their lives and prayers for a speedy recovery for anyone else who was injured. Okay, that's awful. Leon said he needs to be escorted out of office. Yes, he does, with a pair of free silver bracelets, okay, i.e. handcuffs. He certainly does. But see, like I told you, that's why he's trying to get all in good with the police, as if he gives a darn about them in real life, because he doesn't. Okay, he just doesn't want to be locked up and taken straight to prison. But that's where he's going to end up eventually. Okay. That's exactly where he's going to end up. Now, with that, if we're lucky. Okay, and then let's talk about these tariffs, because he supposedly told Walmart. Hold on, let me pull this up. Okay, here it is. This came out yesterday. So what did Donald Trump achieve on his 4-day? Hold on, this is something else. Hold on, my bad. That's not what I'm looking for. This is about him going to the Middle East. We already saw what happened when he went over there. Hold on, beloveds. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Okay, here we go. Now, here it is right here. Oh, Trump is an idiot. Trump tells Walmart to eat the tariffs, okay, after retailer warned that it will raise prices. You see what he's doing out here? Now Walmart has to raise prices, okay? Amazon, everybody's raising prices, honey. That's right. David said, lock him up. I agree, okay? I absolutely agree. Destroying the country from the inside out. President Donald Trump blasted Walmart on Saturday after the country's largest retailer warned this week that it will have to raise prices because of the tariffs. Walmart should stop trying to blame tariffs as the reason for raising prices throughout the chain. This is what Trump wrote on Truth Social, saying between Walmart and China, they should, as it said, eat the tariffs and not charge valued customers anything. I'll be watching, and so will your customers. Now, I like the nerve of this clown sitting up here. So he's supposed to think, see, this is what I told you all would happen. We already knew this was coming. Because when I did that whole PowerPoint video about Trump and the tariffs back in January, we already knew this was coming. I said he's going to raise the tariffs, but that's going to fall back on the consumers because these companies are going to raise their prices to make up for the tariffs. And then that's going to fall on us and we're going to end up paying more. But now listen to how Trump is trying to sneakily flip the script, talking about don't blame it on the tariffs. Okay, they should eat the tariffs and don't try to blame it on the tariffs. And then and don't overcharge your customers. I'll be watching, and so will your customers. Sit down somewhere. Walmart CFO John David Rainey said in an interview with CNBC on Thursday that we have not seen price increases at this magnitude in the speed in which they're coming at us before. And so it makes for a very challenging environment. Now, as a retail giant and the largest grocer in the country, Walmart is often seen as a bellwether for the health of retailers and U.S. consumers. Rainey said that he's pleased with the progress that's been made by the Trump administration on the tariffs from levels that were announced in early April, but they're still too darn high. That is despite a 90-day reprieve that lowered duties on Chinese imports to 30%. Now, goods from dozens of other countries face a 10% duty. Walmart imports electronics and toys from China and produce including avocados and bananas from Central and South America. He said that the retailer wants to keep its prices lower than competitors, especially at a time when shoppers are seeking discounts. In order to do that, he said, Walmart will absorb some of the tariff-related higher costs, and he expects suppliers to absorb some higher costs too. Now, Rainey said the company will try to work with suppliers to keep prices as low as they can. Walmart echoed that sentiment on Saturday when asked to comment on Trump's post, saying that we have always worked to keep our prices as low as possible and we won't stop. We'll keep prices as low as we can for as long as we can, given the reality of small retail margins. Now, Walmart joined a growing number of companies that have increased prices or warned that higher prices are coming due to the tariffs. Okay, Microsoft said earlier this month that it has increased the recommended retail prices for the Xbox video game consoles and some of the controllers. Barbie maker Mattel announced earlier this month it is moving production out of China, but still expected to have price increases in its toys. And Ford warned last week that it would have to raise prices on some cars. Walmart maintained its sales forecast for the year on Thursday, but declined to provide an earnings or operating income forecast for the second fiscal quarter, citing the frequent changes in Trump's administration's tariff policies. Now, major U.S. retailers, including Target, Home Depot, and Lowe's, are expected to share their own outlooks on the impact of tariffs when they report results next week. Honey, Trump is just ruining it for everybody, okay? And the nerve of him to be going in on Walmart as if it's not his own fault, okay? His own stupidity. So anyway, what do y'all have to say about that? Because I find it all nefarious at the end of the day. Thank God I didn't vote for Trump, honey. Y'all can't blame me for this. Okay, y'all can't blame me for it. The Inkwell said, yes, Lowe enforced major retailers to comply or else. You know, I don't really shop at Walmart very much. I like to, I get electronic things there every now and then, or I might get a blender or something like that, you know, but I don't buy my groceries from Walmart. Andrew said, even if the tariffs were taken away, Walmart would never drop their prices. And if you can't work that out, you're dumb as a rock. Not dumb as a rock, Andrew. Vince I M said, please get those likes up. Thank you, beloved. Okay, you come to the Queen of Chat if you haven't kindly, much appreciated. Thank you, beloved. That's right. The Inkwell said Walmart has a monopoly on everything. Trayvon said, I never voted in my life, Queen. Okay. Well, I damn sure wouldn't vote for Trump. Just Anticipate said, those that voted for him can only blame themselves. I know that's right, honey. And I darn sure don't want to blame myself, honey. So I set this one out. Okay. Now, with that all being said, now let's get down to the real problem here. Okay. Let's talk about it because listen. So, you know, Karmelo Anthony, the young man who has been charged after he killed Austin Metcalf. Okay. So basically they have decided that he'll be allowed to graduate from his high school because remember, he was expelled after the incident, but now they're saying that he's going to be allowed to graduate. And, you know, Austin Metcalf's mother and father are not happy about it. And they have filed some complaints or whatever. They have gone up to the school trying to get them to change their minds and all of that. And, hold on, let me just pull this up real quick. I'm going to go to this. And the mother even wrote a letter asking them, and they haven't responded, supposedly, at least not at the time that I've read about it. They had not responded to it. And she was like, they need to respond to her and stop ignoring her or whatever. So now here's what they say. Lights up, everyone, please don't forget to like and share. Okay, so here's what they say. The superintendent of Frisco ISD is pushing back against what he called needless fear-mongering and media vitriol surrounding Centennial High School's graduation ceremony following rumors that Karmelo Anthony, a student charged in the fatal stabbing of a student athlete, Austin Metcalf, would be allowed to graduate. Now, here's the thing. He's not going to literally walk in the graduation, which I pretty much figured that, and I wouldn't think that would be a good idea anyway, seeing as how this young man has already had threats upon his life. Okay, so I knew they wouldn't let him walk in the graduation, but because he was such a stellar student with a 3.7 GPA and he'd completed all of his needed course assignments for him to graduate, you know, when something like this happening, something of this magnitude, they have a couple of things that they do. They either will, you know, if the student has already met the requirements of graduation, they will allow them to still receive their diploma, and as they should. You've already done the work. Okay, but they're not allowed to walk in the ceremony, but they do let them receive their diploma. Now they're talking about the mother's talking about, oh, let him just get a GED later. Yikes! Why does he need to get a GED at the end of the day? Now I'm sorry that Austin Metcalf died. Austin Metcalf was a teenager. Okay, at the end of the day, the whole thing, is unfortunate for both sides, and I've already expressed my condolences for their loss. But the bottom line is, according to witnesses, the true witnesses, not these people online telling lies and painting narratives, okay, her son started it. I mean, they went up to this young man, told him to leave. He didn't want to leave. And here's the thing that I literally just found out. Did you all know that, come to find out, Karmelo Anthony was given permission by one of the coaches to sit under that tent? How many of you all heard that? One's in the chat. Yeah, I found this out like 2 days ago. So he was actually given permission to sit there. And even if he wasn't given permission, the bottom line is Austin and his brother had no business trying to make him by force, putting their hands on him. They should have just gone and gotten a coach or some authority figure, like I told you all. That's how you handle things. But they knocked his phone out of his hand, stomped it, and basically threatened to punch him and then put their hands on him. So that's just how this all escalated. Now, like I said, it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, let's not try to pretend this wasn't self-defense, okay? Because if it were the shoe on the other foot, nobody else that looks like Austin would be saying that it was not self-defense. So we all know that. I don't know why in this country they act like Black people are not supposed to be allowed to defend ourselves against people who don't look like us. That is so asinine to me. Okay, but like my grandfather used to always say, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. Okay, and that's on box. Now, so it goes on to say that in a letter sent to the Centennial High School community Tuesday evening, Superintendent Mike Waldrop criticized what he described as misinformation circulating through news outlets and social media about the upcoming commencement. While the letter did not name the student in question, a Frisco ISD spokesperson shared it in response to inquiries about Anthony, who was arrested in connection with the April stabbing death of 17-year-old Metcalf, saying that it is disheartening that the incredible accomplishments and achievements of our Centennial seniors may be dampened by needless fear-mongering, attention-seeking, and media vitriol. This is what Waldrop wrote. Our students, staff, and community deserve better. Now, earlier on Tuesday, the Dallas-based social justice group Next Generation Action Network claimed in a public statement that Anthony would receive his high school diploma following multiple discussions with Frisco ISD leadership. Okay, now the school said Anthony would not participate in any senior activities, but would graduate based on his 3.7 GPA and completion of all required credits. Because they also say, either you can just get your diploma mailed to you, and then, or you can graduate early or something like that. I think is the policy. Now, Frisco ISD declined to confirm any individual student information, citing federal privacy laws. However, Waldrop's letter underscored that no student who commits a serious criminal offense, okay, which is a Title V felony, is permitted to participate in the graduation ceremony. Such felonies include homicide, kidnapping, and assault. So Anthony is currently facing a murder charge and stabbing of Metcalf at a Frisco IS track meets last month. They need to reduce that charge, but like I told you all, they know what they're doing. They're overcharging him so that they're hoping that at least he'll get charged with something. Okay, that's what is going on. So anyway, now let's talk about, I'm going to go to this video, hold on, where the father of the Frisco teen fatally stabbed during an April track meet is demanding answers because he and the mother are upset, like I told you all. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Lights up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. And then here's the thing, too. I told you all.
Demanding answers.
And here's the thing, too. Students at that school said that Austin and his brothers were bullies. They said they had been bullied by them like they were just bullies. Okay. And when you don't teach your children, like I said, it's very imperative for parents to talk to their children about bullying. Okay, because you mess around and bully the wrong person, and this is the kind of stuff that happens. But let's continue.
CBS Texas learned last night that Karmelo Anthony will get his diploma. Anthony is the Frisco High School student accused in the deadly stabbing of Austin Metcalf. Well, Metcalf's father now wants to confront the district superintendent about this decision. Our JD Miles was the only local reporter there. He brings us the story tonight.
He says he just wants answers, but when Jeff Metcalf arrived at Frisco ISD's administration building, this is what he got.
Hi there, can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like to come in and speak to someone, please.
I'm sorry, we're not allowed to let anyone in without an appointment.
The father of Austin Metcalf wanted to hear directly from Frisco ISD Superintendent Mike Waldrop what he heard from media reports on Tuesday. Those reports are that Karmelo Anthony will get his diploma later this month, despite being under house arrest and charged with murdering Metcalf's son, Austin.
I've been stonewalled. Said, I understand the protocol. They said I have to make an appointment, which I did.
It was 6 weeks ago today when what authorities describe as an altercation between Austin and Karmelo led to one 17-year-old pulling a knife and stabbing the other 17-year-old in the chest at a track meet inside a Frisco ISD stadium. Anthony's parents, who claimed their son was just defending himself, asked Frisco ISD to allow him to get his high school diploma. Sources say an agreement was reached that would allow that.
So I'm just curious on how they arrived at it when I read their own policy manual about what it states for mandatory expulsion and also graduation.
In a statement to CBS News Texas, a representative for the Anthony family tells us, "We cannot and will not speak about the agreement made with Frisco ISD that remains confidential and legally protected. However, it is truly a shame that anyone would go so far as to threaten a graduation ceremony or try to ruin a day that should be filled with joy, pride, and accomplishment for so many students and their families." Frisco ISD superintendent posted a message on social media last night, making it clear that Anthony will not be allowed to attend a graduation ceremony. No student who commits a serious criminal offense is permitted to participate in the graduation ceremony. But sources say Anthony's GPA was high enough to withstand missing the last month of school and still meet the requirements for a diploma. The school district tells CBS News Texas, if the student is expelled, they may continue their education through the Juvenile Justice Alternative Education Program. In cases where a student has completed all graduation requirements and is facing expulsion, Frisco ISD typically gives the option of early graduation instead of placement at JJAEP. The controversy has resulted in a new online petition to award Metcalf an honorary diploma next year when he would have graduated along with his twin brother.
The fact of the matter is it's not going to bring my son back. I mean, it's a nice gesture, but in the long run, my son doesn't get a diploma. So there's part of me that says maybe Mr. Anthony shouldn't get one either.
In Frisco, JD Miles, CBS News, Texas.
Well, I hate it for him. Like I said, my condolences to him for his son's life being lost. But at the end of the day, like I said, this is why parents should talk to their kids about being bullies. Okay, this was absolutely a case of self-defense, and that's just what it was. I mean, here's the thing: the other student down there in Texas who killed that Latina boy, well, he's only going to probably get 6 to 2 years. That's what they're saying. And they said he might, because his case is already over. He's already been convicted, but they convicted him of a much lesser charge. I can't remember what it was, but they said he won't get any more than 6 months to 2 years. And he may even possibly get, because it was the first offense, I think, they said he may get probation, but he literally murdered that boy. Okay, he murdered him. He sure did. Kaysen Ellison, isn't that his name? Kaysen's a whole killer. He stabbed him in the carotid arteries, both of them in the lung and in the heart and in his arm or something like that. But he stabbed him in very vital places. Okay. So this is all just a hot mess. At the end of the day, Karmelo shouldn't have been charged at all, as far as I'm concerned. And here's the thing: I want you all to pay attention, because if you notice, they said the police still have not said how the incident started. They know damn well how it started. They have the video. Y'all didn't forget they have the video, right? So you know they know how damn started. But you know why they're saying they don't know how it started? Because they don't want to tell you the truth. Okay. And they have not released that video, and nor will they. Okay. The video will likely be played in court. But they don't want to release that video because they know the truth is on there, that Karmelo was sitting there minding his own business. And it's now come out that he was sitting there. He was given permission to sit there. Those two brothers came up to him, and they are still telling that damn lie that he brought a knife there, when we all know by now, because Quanell X told the whole story. If you missed that video, please go back and watch, where witnesses said that it was not a regular knife. It was something that they used at the track meets to put up the tents. So it was something that was already there, okay? They walked over to him, started talking trash, put their hands on him. They knocked his phone out of his hand and stomped it, okay, and threatened to punch him, and then put hands on it. And they know that's what happened, and that's what the phone video shows. And they know it. That's why they won't release it. You know darn well if the video showed that Karmelo was actually the aggressor, if the video showed that Karmelo actually did something wrong, they would have released it a long time ago. But they're not releasing it. And don't forget that I told you that when we first even found out they had a video, the police supposedly told the person who took the video, or anybody else that they thought had one, said that if anybody releases video footage of it, they're going to jail too. Okay, and here's the thing. The brother, the twin, he should have been arrested as well, because he also was involved in it. And we all know that the law says that if you're involved in the commission of a felony where someone loses their life, you're to take the blame, even if you didn't technically kill them. But so they don't want to, or they didn't want to arrest him, so they acted like he didn't have anything to do. But if you remember, I pointed out to you what he said in that interview with him and his mother. He sat there and he said, we. He didn't say Austin. He didn't say my brother. He didn't say Karmelo and Austin. He said we. That means he was involved in it. He said we got into a little altercation. That's what he said. Okay, so they're just trying to paint narratives and sit up here lying. And the thing is, it's so many racist people that don't like people who look like Karmelo that they're just sitting here falling for it because they really don't care what happened anyway. They don't care what the truth is. All they know is that a black teenager took the life of a white teenager. You think they give a damn if the white teenager was the aggressor? You think they care if both of them were going to jump Karmelo? You think they care if they put hands on Karmelo first? They don't care. Okay, that's why if you go look at any person's channel who doesn't look like me, read the comments and see what they're saying, talking all this, and then trying to play the victim, sitting there talking about, oh, white people are being treated so bad in this country. White people never get justice. Since when do they not get justice? They always have gotten justice. What are they talking about? Okay, they'll take this one little incident and run with it. Okay, it's just all so ridiculous. But now let's talk about Rodney Hinton, because do you all know that they found out who the officer is? And there he is right there. There he is right there. Did y'all know that? Oh, but hold on, because this man said he was going to put out a hit on Karmelo. This is him right here. Now, why isn't he in jail? He literally posted this on Facebook. I'm going to start a GoFundMe for a hitman to get the head of Karmelo Anthony 100. It's an eye for an eye up in here. Murderers deserve to not be breathing and being released to go to a new $400,000 home when that trash needs to be locked up with real killers. Instead, he's going home with his mommy in a new home. I truly wish only the worst for him. Well, I wish only the worst for your ugly ass. Look at his face. Okay, he sounds like a whole fool. First of all, here's the thing. Does he really believe that dumb lie that he just told about them buying a $400,000 home? First of all, let's get it right. Their house is not worth $400,000. The house they were living in was worth $900,000. And they didn't go and buy it with the money that we contributed to them. They already had that house since 2022. Okay, 2022. They're just mad. These racist people, they're just mad because we donated over $400,000 to that young man and his family for his legal defense fund. And they want to sit here and tell all these lies and paint fictitious narratives. They posted all over social media lies talking about, oh, they took the money that we donated and went and bought a new house and bought cars. How stupid is that? just trying to make them sound like they're ghetto and like they just wasted the money, so we won't continue to support them, but we still will. Okay, then they took a picture of some thug who looks similar to Karmelo but doesn't look like him. They're about the same skin tone, maybe the same size, and the guy has a similar hairstyle. And so they posted a picture of him. He's a whole thug, you can tell, holding these big guns, okay, you know, and holding big wads of cash in what looks like a trap house. They posted that stuff all over the social media talking about, look at Karmelo Anthony, this thug's ready to kill another white person. First of all, that was not even him. And I saw this idiot that I used to follow on X by the name of Matt Wallace. I saw he posted that crap, and I jumped in his comments and I said, you know that's not even him, right? You know that's not him. Sitting up here lying. They know what they be doing, honey. Just spreading all kind of false narratives just to try to make a black person look bad. But oh, when one of them kills an innocent black person, nobody has nothing to say. Do y'all remember when that racist devil, that Karen by the name of Susan Lorenz, murdered a G.K. Owens? Do y'all remember that? When a G.K. Owens went and knocked on her door because she stole her son's laptop, okay, his tablet, and then also she like hit him or did something to him, threw something at one of her kids. And that lady went and was out there cursing them out like they were grown people. And the lady went over and knocked on the door. That's all she did, knocked on the door because she wouldn't have a conversation with her. She shot her through the door and killed her. And they took days to lock her up because they were saying it was self-defense, but it wasn't self-defense. If you shoot through a damn door, you don't even know who's on the other side. First of all, how's that self-defense? You're not in imminent danger, okay? She was knocking on the door, not trying to break the door down. And then she had a child with her. So thank God the child wasn't injured. But this is the kind of stuff they do. Okay, what about that racist devil who shot 16-year-old Ralph Yarrow when he knocked on the wrong door? Did they get all mad and up in arms about that? Did they start talking about racism then? No. They only do that when the same things that they do to us turns around and happens to one of them. Okay, then they want to start talking about an eye for an eye and all this so crazy stuff. Like, get out of here with that craziness. Okay. Now, and here's the thing. Let's talk about Rodney Hinton. Okay, you know they want him to get the death penalty. Okay, that's what they're talking about. Prosecutors seek death penalty in case of Cincinnati father accused of killing deputy 1 day after police shot and killed his son. So on Thursday, a grand jury in Ohio's Hamilton County indicted Rodney Hinton Jr., a 38-year-old father, on all 5 charges related to the death of Hamilton County Sheriff's Deputy Larry Henderson. Hinton is accused of deliberately running down and killing Henderson with his vehicle. Now, at the time of the incident on May the 2nd, Henderson was performing traffic duties at the University of Cincinnati. Hinton Jr. is alleged to have struck the Ohio deputy just hours after viewing body camera footage from the previous day on May the 1st, which showed his son, Ryan Hinton, being shot and killed by a Cincinnati police officer while fleeing. Deputy Henderson was not involved in that attack. Hinton Jr. is facing 5 charges in connection with Henderson's death, including 2 counts of aggravated murder, which under Ohio's law carry the possibility of the death penalty. He's also charged with 2 counts of felonious assault and 1 count of murder. Now, in an interview Thursday with WKRC, the Cincinnati CBS affiliate, Hamilton County Prosecutor Connie Pillett made clear the state is pursuing the death penalty against Hinton Jr. Okay, saying this case is absolutely one of the more tragic I've seen in my short tenure. The facts of this case meet the law as it is written in Ohio that does include the death penalty, and that's why we're seeking it. Apparently, the grand jury agrees. Now, the World Socialist website denounces the frenzied political campaign for the execution of Rodney Hinton, who is being denied bail. This grieving father should be granted bail and provided the medical and mental health care he needs. Why isn't he getting bail? Why is he getting bail? When the police kill Black people unarmed at traffic stops, they don't even go to jail. So you mean tell me he can't get bail? First of all, does he have a criminal record? Okay, is he a danger to the community? I have several questions, okay? Now, with that all being said, goes on to say that in the May 1st police body camera footage, the young man later identified as Hinton is seen running between 2 dumpsters and away from officers after exiting a vehicle in a parking lot near a wooded area. He briefly stumbles and is shot as he enters the woods. Yeah, they shot him within 6 seconds of him 6 seconds of the officers arriving on scene. And then they said that he pointed a gun at them. Now, you all know I showed you the body cam footage. There was no gun pointed at them, and he was running away. So how the hell was he in imminent danger, putting them in imminent danger? That's the lies they tell. Okay, so anyway, he stumbles and is shot as he enters the woods. Just 6 seconds pass between the officer's initial interaction with Hinton and the moment they shoot and kill him. Now, police claim they recovered 2 pistols from the scene, one inside a Kia that Hinton and 3 others were allegedly involved in stealing, and the other found outside in the wooded area, reportedly after falling from Hinton's grasp when he was shot by officers. Now, let's see how they're lying. They said it fell from his grasp, but when he was shot by officers, no, he didn't. It fell when he stumbled. Y'all remember that? You literally saw when he stumbled, you might have heard a clink. Okay, so at the end of the day, they're so full of crap. They're trying to act like he had the gun pointed at the officers. No, that's not what we saw. I'm sorry. Please make it all make sense. Okay, so anyway, goes on to say that justifying the shooting of a fleeing suspect, Cincinnati Police Chief Teresa A. Thetge stated during the May 2nd press conference, saying, "Let me be very direct. We cannot allow individuals to flee from officers with a loaded firearm aimed at them. First of all, how are you fleeing and aiming the gun at the officers at the same time? I want y'all to make it make sense. It says we cannot allow individuals to flee from officers with a loaded firearm aimed at them." So what was he doing? Running with the gun pointed backwards? How do you do both? Now, when this happens, the outcome is almost always tragic. Well, I'll tell you what, the outcome is definitely almost always tragic when it's a Black person with a gun, whether they're a licensed gun owner or not. Okay, in the blurry edited footage released by police, that footage wasn't blurry. Do y'all hear this? Why would the footage be blurry? No, we saw it very well, ma'am. Stop the cap. Okay, edited footage released by police. Oh, edited. Did they say edited? It is unclear whether Hinton was even armed. Now, I want y'all to pay attention. Listen to this. In the blurry edited footage released by police, it is unclear whether Hinton was even armed. Yeah, it was unclear because I never saw the gun. What I did hear, it seemed like he might have had something. It looked like he could have either been catching his step on the ground or whatever, but it sounded like a clinking sound or whatever. But definitely there was no gun pointed at that damn officer. We all saw the footage and we know there was nothing pointed at that officer. He was running away. His hands were in front of him or at his side. So the lies continue. Okay, so anyway, goes on to say that when asked by a reporter at the press conference if there was any additional footage or evidence to corroborate the claim, Chief Thetge responded, based on the officer's interviews, the officer who did discharge his firearm said that when the individual came out between the dumpsters, he had the firearm in front of him. It was in like a bladed position. And it was like in a bladed position, and it was pointed at the officer. Lies. That was not true. That's not what we saw. And he felt threatened for his life. That's why he discharged his firearm. Yeah, okay. Now, Thetge confirmed that there was no indication that any of the firearms recovered had been fired. But I would like to add a caveat. She says, we do not expect the officers to wait until they are fired upon before they feel the necessity to fire. I want y'all to remember that. If you remember nothing else, remember that. We do not expect officers to wait until they're fired upon, okay, before they feel the necessity to fire. See, that's a loaded statement. I'm gonna tell you why. Because if somebody points a gun at an officer, well, that would make sense for the officer to shoot them. If a weapon is pointed at you, okay, yeah, you are in danger at that point. But if somebody's fleeing away from you and they don't have anything pointed at you, what's the problem? You're not supposed to shoot a fleeing suspect, but they do it all the time. Shoot you in the back and all of that. Okay, so anyway, the police chief confirmed that there was no indication that any of the firearms had been fired. Okay, now after viewing the body camera footage on May the 2nd, Hinton Jr.'s lawyers say that he was distraught for several hours before crashing his vehicle into Henderson. Now, more than a week after one of her officers shot and killed Hinton, Thetge has refused to identify the officer. Oh, we know who he is. You don't have to identify him because we found out. Okay, thanks to social media sleuths. All right, it says that they have refused to identify the officer, citing Ohio's Marsy's Law. Passed in 2017, it is a constitutional amendment, as a constitutional amendment, the law was promoted as a set of protections for crime victims. Since its adoption, Ohio police departments have routinely claimed that officers who shoot civilians are victims. Isn't that something? In order to mask their identity. Okay, please pay attention. Allowing them to withhold the officers' identities. Yeah, okay, that makes sense, right? None whatsoever. Technically, under Marcy's law, there's no provision that allows us to release it at all. This is what the police chief told radio host Lincoln Ware on a Monday interview. Now, while not corroborated at the time, social media users have compared evidence that the policeman who killed Hinton in Cincinnati is a Cincinnati cop named Cyan McGrath. Yeah, that is who it is. Don't try to act like it isn't. That is who it is. And I'm going to tell you all something about him in a minute. Now, in February of 2023, the Cincinnati Police Department released findings from an integral investigation that accused McGrath, and several officers of excessive force, improper search, and discourtesy. The allegation that McGrath is discourteous during an incident, or was discourteous during an incident in which he and other officers assaulted a man with a prosthetic eye while serving a search warrant, was sustained. After arresting the man, who was staying in an apartment with his daughter and grandchildren, McGrath threatened the remaining family members, saying, "We'll work on getting you put out on the street next, all right? Next time, answer the door for the effing police." That's how they talk to you, honey. Please pay attention. The report noted that Officer McGrath did not need to add to the trauma and stress of the situation by using profane language, especially in the presence of children who were already in tears over it. Honey, they don't give a darn about Black people's children. Since when do they care about traumatizing them? They don't. So far this year, there have already been 6 officer-involved shootings in the greater Cincinnati area. The police shooting of young Ryan Hinton, followed by the killing of Deputy Henderson by Hinton's father, is a tragic situation and a damning indictment of the entire capitalist system. The police, an instrument of class rule, are virtually untouchable and unaccountable in a capitalist America. I absolutely agree. Okay, so I'm not going to read all this, but I want to show you all something. Hold on. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now, here are some documents on this officer who allegedly shot Ryan Hinton. Okay, yeah, they don't want to release who he is, but people found out. You know, these social media sleuths go digging. Okay, y'all see this? This was from February 22nd, 2023. This is what they were talking about in the article that I just read. Okay, they were accused with a review of excessive force, improper search, and discourtesy allegations by Robert Taylor. Okay. Okay, so Mr. Robert Taylor alleged that on Wednesday, August 3rd of 2022 at 9:40 a.m. at blank, Cincinnati police officers, later identified by CCA to be Sergeant Asbury, Specialist Longworth, Officers Knapp and McGrath. Okay, that's the one that supposedly killed Ryan Hinton, used excessive force when arresting him. Sergeant Asbury, Specialist Longworth, and Officers Knapp and McGrath, along with several more members of the Fugitive Apprehension Squad, arrived at blank to serve multiple warrants on Mr. Robert Taylor, including warrants for carrying concealed weapon, improper handling of a weapon in a motor vehicle, failure to comply with the police order, weapons under disability, tampering with evidence, and felony obstructing official business. Now, Mr. Taylor also alleged that the officers made fun of his prosthetic eye, and they should have obtained a search warrant to search the residence that he was located at, because it is his children's residence. He doesn't live there. Wait a damn minute. They didn't even have a search warrant, honey. That wouldn't have come up in my house. I promise you that. And they didn't have a search warrant. And here's the thing. So what are they sitting there talking trash for? Telling them next time, open the door for the police. Honey, don't nobody have to open the damn door for the police if you don't have a warrant. You sound crazy. Now, CCA interviewed Robert Taylor, Sergeant Nathan Asbury, Specialist Mark Longworth, and Michael Harper, and Officers Charles Knapp and Cian McGrath. Okay. And then they name all of them. They say CCA also reviewed relevant body-worn camera, recordings, contact cards, relevant police records, and all of that. Credible evidence, specifically relevant BWC footage, proves that Sergeant Asbury, Specialist Longworth, and Officers Knapp and McGrath used force against Mr. Taylor, including an elbow strike by Specialist Longworth, his use of conducted energy weapon by Sergeant Asbury, and the use of a tactical shield to hold Mr. Taylor to the ground by Officer McGrath. The circumstances surrounding the use of force are as follows. Officer Knapp had attempted to lay Mr. Taylor in a prone position to detain him, and Mr. Taylor pushed Officer Knapp forcefully to the ground. Specialist Longworth was holding a rifle, so he used an elbow strike against Mr. Taylor as Sergeant Asbury deployed his CEW into Mr. Taylor's back. The CEW was deployed for 4.95 seconds, which had a desired effect of neuromuscular incapacitation, and Mr. Taylor fell to the ground. Mr. Taylor continued to resist. Was he resisting or was he writhing in pain and agony? Honey, the lies. Okay, and did not follow orders to put his hands behind his back. So Sergeant Asbury attempted to use it a second time, but one of the prongs had come out, and Mr. Taylor attempted to push himself up off the ground. So Officer McGrath used his tactical shield to hold him down on the ground while the other officers gained control of Mr. Taylor's arms and placed Mr. Taylor in handcuffs. However, despite the action taken, CPD procedure manual use of force permitted the conduct that occurred due to Mr. Taylor initially refusing to comply with verbal commands to come down the stairs and then forcefully pushing Officer Knapp to the ground. Specifically, the evidence establishes that the subject officer's use of force was objectively reasonable in light of the applicable factors for evaluating force under the Fourth Amendment and CPD policy. Therefore, the actions of Sergeant Asbury, Specialist Longworth, and Officers Knapp and McGrath were consistent with CBD policy, procedure, and training. Okay, so anyway, I'm not going to read all this, but as you all can see, this is what they did, okay? And listen, here's how you know they were full of crap. Because first of all, they're sitting here saying that this man was trying to push himself up off the ground, that he was resisting. I'll guarantee you that man was probably not even resisting, as most Black people are not doing when they lie and say that you are. Okay? Probably wasn't even resisting. Now, he was probably trying to get up or trying to, you know how, just think about this. And I want y'all to really think about this. When you were a kid and you were getting a spanking or a whipping, right? And your parent is hitting you with a belt or whatever, a switch or whatever they may have used. Remember how you would move and just try to put your hands where you're getting popped at and all that stuff? That's what people do sometimes when the police are beating the hell out of them. But the cops will use that to make up lies and say that you're resistant, okay, and act like they need to use even more force than they're already doing. This is what they do, okay? So they can miss me with it, honey. I'm not buying any of it, period. This man's already had problems before, okay? That's not the first and that's not the last. Now, let me go to this video of Mr. Hinton in court. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. And did you all know that somebody filed a lawsuit on Hinton's behalf? They actually thought Hinton filed it, but come to find out it was not him. Someone else actually filed it. Hold on. I'm going to go to the video about that. Just a whole mess. But they don't want to give us reparations. Make that make sense.
Of use of force, physical abuse, and intimidation. This is what Rodney Hinton Jr. is claiming in a new federal lawsuit against Cincinnati police and other members of law enforcement. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Brett Bagansky. WCPO 9 News reporter Connor Steffen shows you why Rodney Hinton thinks they violated his civil rights.
Good morning, Mr. Hinton. In the lawsuit, Rodney Hinton Jr. claims this scene at his arraignment and this scene during his bond hearing amounted to a coordinated effort by law enforcement to intimidate him.
He was walking out and how the whole precinct seemed to be in the courtroom.
We spoke with Antoinette Holloway. She isn't a licensed attorney, but filed the complaint on Hinton Jr.'s behalf. He's representing himself in the matter.
So when you got him behind closed doors, we don't know if he's eating. We don't know what was going on in there.
In the 5-page complaint, Hinton Jr., who is accused of intentionally running down Deputy Larry Henderson, says his civil rights were violated during his May 2nd arrest. He also claims officers used excessive force, resulting in visible injuries. We reached out to Cincinnati Police and the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office about the lawsuit. Spokespeople for both departments say they don't comment on pending legal cases.
It was emotional.
He said that he just didn't expect all the support that he is getting.
Leaders of the Black Panther movement traveled to Cincinnati Monday, in part to visit Hinton Jr. He's being held without bond inside the Claremont County Jail and faces charges including aggravated murder and felonious assault.
It was brief, but it was powerful. He appreciates our people standing with our people.
The group held this town hall Monday night to organize next steps in support of Hinton Jr. About 40 people showed up, including 24-year-old CJ Robinson.
It could be me next week, and I can only imagine if I was killed unjustly, what my parents would do.
Robinson says he wants police held accountable for the deadly shooting of Hinton Jr.'s son, Ryan Hinton. Prosecutors say Hinton Jr. watched body camera video of the incident hours before the crash that killed Henderson.
A sorry, a public statement, there needs to be some consequence.
Hinton Jr. could face the death penalty if he's convicted. In Cincinnati, Connor Steffen, WCPO 9 News.
Imagine making $453,000.
Hold on, beloveds. We're going to the next clip. Hold on. Now, this is where the truth comes out when they find out that he didn't actually file that lawsuit. Because when I first heard that story, I'm like, wait a minute. How's he filing a lawsuit when he's in jail? I mean, you could file one while you're in jail, but I just thought that was kind of quick.
Well, WLWT investigates a bizarre legal filing in the case of Rodney Hinton Jr., the man accused of killing Hamilton County Deputy Larry Henderson.
Hinton's defense attorney says the federal lawsuit on his behalf didn't come from Hinton. WLWT News 5's Karen Johnson digs deeper into who filed it and why legal experts say it's unlikely to go anywhere.
It's a case that's drawn national attention. Rodney Hinton charged with murdering Hamilton County Sheriff's Deputy Larry Henderson. This week, a strange development. A civil lawsuit seeking $25 million was filed in federal court.
He didn't file a lawsuit.
A woman from Georgia named Antoinette Holloway filed it on Hinton's behalf, claiming to be acting as his next friend, which is a legal term for being associated with someone.
I don't know if that person is a friend. I don't know this individual who filed a federal lawsuit. Mr. Hinton didn't file a lawsuit.
The suit claims the state of Ohio, Cincinnati Police, and Hamilton County Sheriff's Office violated Hinton's constitutional rights. Holloway makes what appear to be false allegations, such as, quote, Hinton appeared visibly beaten during his arraignment, reflecting physical abuse sustained in custody. She also claims he is being held at the Hamilton County Justice Center. Hinton is actually in the Claremont County Jail.
It's very unusual and it's not proper.
Local attorney Jason Philibom weighs in on why someone would file on Hinton's behalf.
Trying to get a piece of the pie, thinking, either some type of social justice warrior that you're trying to make a statement, or two, you're trying to get a piece of the pie.
WLWT found 11 other federal lawsuits filed by Holloway in the last few years against the state of Georgia, city of Atlanta, DeKalb County Police, and FBI, just to name a few. All but 2 pending cases were dismissed, a judge calling some of them frivolous. Philibom says there are a few directions this current case in Ohio can go.
The judge on his or her own could dismiss the case because it's not a licensed attorney. It's also possible the judge could put an order on that says you need to have a licensed attorney accept this case or it's going to be dismissed.
Or another possibility, the city of Cincinnati or Hamilton County could ask for a dismissal, or even Hinton's attorney, Clyde Bennett. Jason Philibom explained it that typically defense attorneys don't want civil cases to be filed at the same time as the ongoing criminal case because discovery filed civilly could be used against their client criminally. Reporting downtown, Karen Johnson,
Okay, so there you have that, honey. I don't know who that person is, but clearly they're up to something. Now, they might just be trying to help, but that's not a good idea. Okay, so now I want you all to pay attention because here's the thing. Remember when I told you all, I said this man does not need a public defender. He needs a real attorney. Okay, so they have started, they started a Give, Send, Go campaign for him. So this is what this report is about. Hold on. You know, the police don't like that. And whoever it is, that lady that filed that lawsuit, she better expect for the police to start harassing her real soon. Please pay attention.
Rodney Hinton Jr. is currently in jail without bond in Claremont County for allegedly killing Hamilton County Sheriff's Deputy Larry Henderson earlier this month. Soon after his arrest, family members posted on GoFundMe, but that company took it down after an outcry from the law enforcement community. But last week, Hinton's sister, Kiera, posted another fundraiser on a similar website, Give, Send, Go, and has raised almost $40,000 as of this afternoon after setting an initial goal of $20,000. In her post, Hinton's sister says in part, "As I send my deepest condolences to the sheriff's family, I am praying personally one day God and your family can forgive him. Mental health is a real thing. Please check on your people who show signs of mental illness." Nearly 1,200 people have given, including some from overseas. Many say Hinton deserves a good legal defense, but some also called for continued violence against police. The lawyer representing the Hintons did not respond to a request for comment in time for this story. Cincinnati Police Fraternal Order of Police President Ken Kober says he's disappointed the Give, Send, Go fundraiser is still active.
It's disappointing that you have a platform that allows for somebody to raise money for somebody that's killed a cop. But it doesn't violate their policy. GoFundMe took a different stance, took theirs down, and that's something we certainly appreciate.
A Give, Send, Go spokeswoman says they are heartbroken over Henderson's death, but their policy does not automatically remove fundraisers based on charges or allegations. She said the company believes everyone deserves a chance to get help, no matter the circumstances, and the money should be processed soon.
Sure, you can stop watching, but let's be honest, you want to know more. Tap the links.
I want you all to pay attention to how that cop, who the hell does he think he is? He thinks cops are supposed to get preferential treatment. Okay, they don't say a damn thing when people like Derek Chauvin get all these people donating to them. Did they say anything about that? Did they say anything about Cal Rittenhouse at the end of the day, talking about they are going to let people get donations if they kill the cop? What about when cops kill people? Okay, what about that? And then people donate to the cops. What's the difference? Either way, whether you're a cop or not, you're still a human being. Why do they think they're supposed to get so much better treatment than regular citizens? Okay, at the end of the day, because you have a different job, like get the F out of here. That is so annoying for me. Yeah, they're raising money for him. Get over it. Y'all raised all that damn money for George Zimmerman, Derek Chauvin, and all these other nefarious devils who kill people that are unarmed for no good reason.
In the death of Hamilton County Deputy Larry Henderson was in front of a judge today on new charges. Rodney Hinton Jr. now faces the death penalty. WCPO 9 News reporter Valerie Lyons was in the courtroom. And Valerie, you talked with Hinton's attorney, who says his defense hinges on one issue.
Yeah, Tanya, apologies. I'm going to keep it quick because this rain is coming straight into my face right now. But essentially, Rodney Hinton Jr.'s attorney told me it comes down to his mindset, how he was thinking at the time of this offense. He says it's a straightforward issue, but he's confident it'll be resolved by the time this trial starts, which the judge tentatively set a date for sometime next February.
With his attorney by his side and several deputies standing guard, Rodney Hinton Jr. walked into a new courtroom Tuesday.
We're here today because Mr. Hinton has been indicted by the grand jury.
Hinton is accused of intentionally running down Hamilton County Deputy Larry Henderson earlier this month. He's now facing 4 new charges. 2 are aggravated murder, each of which carries a possible death sentence.
County prosecutor's office, their office, they're trying to kill him.
After Hinton pled not guilty, we spoke with his attorney. Clyde Bennett says Hinton had a mental disorder leading up to the events on May 2nd. That morning, Hinton and his family viewed body camera video of a Cincinnati police officer shooting and killing his son Ryan during a chase. Bennett says Hinton's currently on an antidepressant, and he still hasn't processed what happened that day.
I wouldn't say he's fully competent, but as the days go on, I think he gets more competent every day.
Last week, Hinton sued the Cincinnati Police Department for alleged mistreatment following his arrest. He claims authorities tried to intimidate him during his first court appearance. Bennett is not representing him on the complaint, but we asked him about the claims anyway.
The sheriffs were given a show of support for a fallen deputy, their colleague, their fellow, and I respect that. And then some individuals say that was a show of intimidation of force. But that's behind us now.
Looking forward, Hinton could pay with his life for allegedly taking one. So I asked Bennett one more question.
There are a lot of eyes on Rodney right now. A lot of people watching him right now. What's your message to the community? Again, this is a high-profile case.
My message would be that in our great country, in our great community, you're presumed innocent until proven guilty, and he's not been proven guilty. I would ask that everyone be objective and be fair.
And Tanya, today the judge ordered that Hinton remain in the Claremont County Jail and continue to be held without bond.
Girl, you need to hurry up and get out that darn rain. Why doesn't she have an umbrella, honey? This is all crazy. First of all, how are you a news reporter, but you're standing out there with no umbrella? Like you didn't know it was going to rain? Do you and the meteorologist not speak at work? Okay. The meteorologist didn't tell your ass it was going to rain. The meteorologist did her dirty, y'all. Please pay attention, honey. She's all outside and getting drenched, okay? Oh, so nefarious. But so anyway, let me go to this video. Let me go to this video that I forgot to show you all about Karmelo Anthony. This is where I think this young lady in this TikTok is going to read the letter that the mother wrote to the school. Okay, so I'm going to go to that because I was looking for the letter, honey, but I didn't have time to find it before I started this live. So I'm going to play this TikTok where she's reading it. Hold on. I posted it on my X.
So the mother of Austin Metcalf, her name is Megan Metcalf, has emailed Frisco ISD several times requesting that Karmelo Anthony not be allowed to graduate, even though this young man had a 3.7 GPA and had already completed all of the requirements needed to graduate from high school, even with missing the last month and a half due to the expulsion because of the criminal charges that came along with what happened at that track meet. Now, on top of sending the email to the school multiple times, there also has been petitions online requesting that they not allow this young man to graduate. Now, we're going to read through the email that she allegedly sent. This is all alleged. Let's go ahead and read through it. All right. So this email was sent April 17th, 2025, says, "Hello, board members. My name is Megan Metcalf. My son, Austin Metcalf, was tragically taken away from me on April 2nd of 2025 from another Frisco student. I have been informed the civil rights team that this person has behind him are reaching out to you requesting he be able to graduate. I do not know much about your stance on protests, etc., but I would urge you to make sure that you do not change your mind on this ruling, that the boy is expelled and it stays that way. My son, Austin, will never be able to graduate. This person will have the opportunity to get his GED at a later time because he is still living. I would strongly request that you do not allow him to sway your ruling and keep him from being able to graduate from the Frisco ISD schools we hold so dear." Now, this is really interesting. Why would you want him to get a GED if he met all the requirements to get his high school diploma? That would be my question. And while we do send condolences to the family, we understand that a life is lost. But what is your purpose for this if he already met all of the requirements? And just because a kid is expelled does not take away from all the work that he has already completed. Now, she then sent a follow-up email saying someone needs to respond to me. This is unacceptable. Now, I'm assuming this is after news hit the internet that he was going to be allowed to graduate. Now, the school did respond to her, right, letting her know that they couldn't share basically any information about one student, but what they could do was recite what the policies are. And they said that they were aware that there was a student, that was expelled, and he was expelled, right? But at the end of the day, you cannot take away the work that this young man has already put in. And I'm so happy that they did it. Will he get the walk? No, but he will get his high school diploma. That
And as he should. I mean, just straight up hating, honey. This is, I mean, you know, like I said, condolences, but at the end of the day, please accept some accountability. Okay, please accept some accountability for what your child did. Like, why did they just teach their kids not to be bullying people? I mean, there was many students at the school that her son went to that said that they were both bullies. Okay, that's just the fact. That is just the sad fact of the matter. All right. And so when the truth comes out, and right now, here's the thing. Yeah, they're all going around here mad now, but they're not telling the whole truth. When the truth comes out, honey, in court, yeah, it's going to be a whole lot of people even more upset. I guarantee you that. Now, with that being said, I want you all to hear this video this lady did about Trump. And let me just show you all this. Y'all, look at this. Okay, please. Okay, people are getting tired of the BS. Okay, look at all these black people. You know, that's just a tip of the iceberg, honey. Please don't make me put up all of the people, okay, that have been murked by the police. And I'm just talking about in the last 10 years, okay? Okay, but this cop wants to sit here and say, oh, they're letting them raise money after they killed a cop. Well, how many people have cops killed unarmed, okay, who absolutely had not even committed a crime? Okay, when George Floyd lost his life, he hadn't committed a damn crime either. Y'all remember that, right? They lied and said that he had a fake $20 bill. Turns out he didn't have a fake $20 bill. How about that? The lies is all they do is continue, honey. Please pay attention. End of the day, now they want to sit there and try to go in on give, send, go, or whatever. I want y'all to pay attention. But hold on. I want you all to see this video of this Latina dude sitting here getting all mad and butthurt because he can't say the N word, or he could say it, but it won't work out so good for him if he mess around and say it around the wrong black person. I'll tell you that much. That's a fact. But he's sitting here mad because he can't say the N word. And then this Asian lady goes in on him. Okay, she goes in on him. Let me go to it. Hold on. Here we go.
What's up with all the black people saying that nobody can say the N-word, Latino and Latinos can't say the N-word? You have effectively marketed that word and sold it. You have turned it into a cultural item. It's in every comedy show. It's in every movie. It's in every music.
The way that you're not embarrassed to come on here and fight just to be a scavenger, scavenging off someone else's culture, it needs to be studied. Could you imagine if black people casually walked around calling each other wetback? Hey, what's up, my wetback? I bet you wouldn't like that. You should be focused on combating the issues impacting your own people, you know, like ICE raids and illegal deportations. If only Mexicans and Hispanics who fight so hard to say the N-word put that same energy into fighting for your own rights, the same way you fight so hard to leech off of a culture that isn't even yours. It's truly pathetic. Assimilation is still so ingrained in so many weak-minded Mexicans and Hispanics that you take pride in wearing the identities of other people because you have no pride in your own. Instead of embracing your own culture, you scavenge off others, in this case, black culture, hoping proximity to blackness will make you relevant, cool, and maybe even powerful, because most of us are aware of the global impact of black culture. Flex your own culture with the same energy that you try to flex black culture, and just keep it moving because this is embarrassing. And before anybody says that no one should be using the N-word, that is none of your business unless you're black. And that is for the black community to decide and no one else.
Facts. Okay. Always trying to mooch off of us and then talking crazy, honey. Please pay attention. Now let me let you all see this. This lady's talking about Trump. I want y'all to hear her take on things. Now, because I don't have permission to use this, I'm just going to throw an overlay over here real quick.
Got an unpopular opinion, but I think that Donald Trump might be the best thing that ever happened to America. And I'm not trolling. Hear me out. See, I didn't say that because I support his politics or praise his policies. I said it because for the first time in a long time, America's being forced to look at itself in the mirror, and it's extremely uncomfortable. Ugly, messy, but necessary. See, Trump didn't invent division, racism, or greed. He just ripped the bandage off the wound that the country has been pretending doesn't exist. And in doing so, he made people who were asleep finally wake up. He made people start asking real questions. Why are rights being stripped away? Why is truth under attack? Why are so many clinging to power when the rest of us can barely afford rent or mortgage? See, this is not about loving or hating Donald Trump. This is about understanding that the chaos that is Trump exposed the fractures in our foundation. And sometimes you got to break it to rebuild it stronger. And now maybe just maybe, we'll finally have the discussions about race, history, class, democracy that everybody's been avoiding for decades. So go ahead and go drop a comment. Agree, disagree with me, educate me, whatever you want. Because if we don't talk about it now, when will we?
I'll tell you what, she needs to give me those Ankh earrings that she had on. Those were nice. That's what she needs to do. Plus, they match my necklace. Okay, so anyway, that all being said, I'm about to conclude this broadcast, honey. Inkwell sitting here talking about Queen Off Topic. Did you mention today is Malcolm X's birthday? No, I didn't. And you shouldn't have mentioned it either, beloved, because Malcolm X's birthday is not today. So please have several seats. Okay? Today is not, I repeat, today is not Malcolm X's birthday, beloved. Ed. Malcolm X's birthday is May the 19th, which is Monday. All right? It's Monday. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, Nicole said, girl, you and Trump look alike. Sit down. Oh, my goodness. I am so through. The Inkwell talking about, sorry, it's okay, beloved. He just got your dates mixed up. I am so done. All of y'all are nefarious. All right. Hey, Officer Carol Banks, beloved. Okay, so listen, I'm about to be up out of here. I hope you all enjoyed this day. Listen, I said I was going to do something for the members today. Y'all, I'm so sorry. It's getting late. I didn't get started with my day till late. Please forgive me, but I will do it tomorrow. I'm going to do it early tomorrow, probably around 1 o'clock. Okay, we're going to talk about sinners. I promise I'm going to do it tomorrow. Now, that being said, y'all get ready for the nefariousness of Diddy's trial starting back up on Monday. Okay, Mel said I will never be in agreement with anyone who likes Trump. I don't blame you. Okay, the Inkwell said he's been honored today in several places. Thought it was today. That's okay. You know they're doing it because today's the weekend, beloved. Because Monday everybody's going to be at work. Okay, so anyway, I love you all to life. I hope you all enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. That's See right. A bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got